Well, what is going on, everyone? It is June 20th, 2021, and here we are on a beautiful Sunday night. Here we are. Hell in a Cell post show. Let me know what you guys thought about tonight's show down in the chat. I would love to see what you guys thought about the show overall. To me, no. Nope. Not with it. Nope. Not at all. It just, it wasn't right. A lot of hokey finishes. I had said earlier that this show looked pretty weak on paper, and I was hoping that the last WWE pay-per-view that I watched, it was great. And which is funny because I think it was WrestleMania Backlash. And everyone made fun of the name of that show, including myself. It was not good. But the show turned out to be one of my favorite WWE pay-per-views that I had seen in a while. So despite the terrible card on paper here, I stuck with it and I said, you know what? WWE, they swing, they knock it out of the park for these pay-per-views. All right. So I'm not with it on paper, but they'll do fine. They'll do it. They did not do it. They did not do it, man. Not to say the least, they did not do it. Lots of hokey finishes, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. Especially like for me, I don't know the exact amount of time. I think it's been somewhere between 2 to 3 months since I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown. And man, like a lot of the stuff just really, really comes out when you haven't watched the WWE product weekly, like the camera cuts, the zooms, the shakes, like all sorts of stuff like that. It just came out a lot tonight. But yeah, so hope you guys are doing good. I am doing great. Like I said, it is Sunday and we are here once again. These are pretty rare these days because we only do them once a month because I can't be bothered to watch Raw and SmackDown, but fans are coming back soon. So that might change up a little bit. But there's a lot in the chat going on, so I can't shout out everyone that is here. But I will say, Jan, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Ashton, good to see you as well. I'll start reading the chat from here. Jerry says, I feel sorry for Drew. Right? I feel so bad for Drew McIntyre, man. Like, look at the man's face. This guy was in a Hell in a Cell match, okay? He got distracted and rolled up. I mean, the best thing to come out of all of this is Drew McIntyre can no longer challenge for the WWE Championship as long as Bobby Lashley holds it. Thank God. Thank God. Chef, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Philip, good to see you as well, my friend. WWE Emoji says Bayley versus Bianca Belair was match of the night, hands down. Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. I really liked Cesaro and Seth Rollins as well, but the finish just wasn't for me. Fickle says horrible pay-per-view. JBOJ says this show was terrible, but not as terrible as Hell in a Cell 2019 with that horrible ending. Yeah, man. I don't understand why you got to do this kind of stuff, man. Like, just let people win. just let people win. You know, it's not that bad to have people get some wins and losses. And you know, for this one, a lot of this stuff was rematches, and a lot of this stuff, the pre-show match was made like 35 minutes before the show went on the air, which was super random. The women's tag team champions in a singles feud, and I've talked about this. I mean, we'll go into this a little bit more when we get to the actual matches, but I've talked about this countless times on NXT reviews. I hate the women's tag team championships. I hate them so much. That was made, like I said, within like 35 minutes. Owens and Zayn was booked the day before on SmackDown, and so was Cesaro and Seth Rollins. Like, we've known about these pay-per-views forever. Why are we just barely getting into them on the go-home shows? We should put them together and then be ready. The go-home show should be building for all of those. It should not be establishing the matches. Banned someone. He seems to be going nuts. He seems fine to me. I don't know. I will monitor chat though. I'll monitor chat. Genesis says makes Bobby look weak having to have MVP distract his opponent so he can win. So I get it on two different levels. Like, I get the heel distraction and stuff like that, but the Hell in a Cell match, and maybe that's the first thing that we should talk about before we go into any of this, because I don't know if any of you guys are new here or what, but we've been saying this for quite a while that I think, and a couple other people think as well. You can let me know in chat if you agree or disagree, but I think that WWE needs to get rid of these gimmicked pay-per-views. I think it's over. I think it's time to get rid of them. We don't need these anymore. Okay, so you have a yearly Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Okay? That means that just randomly, while you are constructing your weekly shows, which I wouldn't even say that they do that anyways, all of a sudden you're like, oh, hey, guess what? And we know that WWE doesn't plan months in advance. So they're not like, hey, we have Hell in a Cell in 3 months. We should probably start figuring out something to get there, right? They're like, damn, Hell in a Cell is 3 weeks away and we don't really have anything that belongs inside of a Hell in a Cell. So they have to hot shot book these things. I don't think that Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley belonged in a Hell in a Cell. And I certainly don't think that Bianca Belair and Bayley belonged in a Hell in a Cell either. So for me, I feel like you should get rid of these gimmick shows, Hell in a Cell being one, and Extreme Rules being the other one that comes to my mind at the moment. And book them on something else, like fill them in with a No Mercy, an Armageddon, an Unforgiven, a Bad Blood, or whatever it is that you want to, whatever it is you want to call it. I don't care. But having the gimmicks on these ones, it just feels so weird. It feels like a rush to get them to certain areas. So I really wish that they would get rid of them and put them on some other shows and then just have them when you need them. Neither one of these feuds needed a Hell in a Cell match. They didn't. It kind of defeats the purpose of having these Hell in a Cell matches. I think it takes away from all of them as well. Jose says Hell in a Cell is just Extreme Rules match with a crate surrounding them. Yeah, and like, is there a reason to have Extreme Rules pay-per-view? Why have an entire Extreme Rules pay-per-view to have 1 or 2 Extreme Rules matches? It just doesn't make sense to me. Anthony says, I agree, but how often do you see Hell in a Cell matches in other pay-per-views? So I'm not saying that you can't use them in other shows. I'm saying just don't have a specific date where you have Hell in a Cell. So June, like, oh, June's coming up, let's have Hell in a Cell. And I think Hell in a Cell is in December or something like that. Usually, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm terrible with dates. But instead of having that there, like, if you want to have a Hell in a Cell once a year or twice a year, it is what it is. It's whatever. But be like, hey, we have this crazy feud going between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, right? It's been building up. We should probably end it in a Hell in a Cell. And then we can just put the Hell in a Cell on the pay-per-view. You know, it would make it more special as opposed to where it's like, oh, Hell in a Cell's coming up, so we know there's at least 2 matches and yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? Skinny says, are you going to New Japan Resurgence in August? No. No more traveling for me for right now. No more. Van says, why do I suddenly remember his son-in-law saying that we are the problem? Don't like it, don't watch it, man. Don't like it, don't watch it. Why are you spamming, bro? I ban you? I don't care to ban you. Just shut up. Rampage says, why was Roman not booked the hottest superstar right now, not booked on this pay-per-view? I'm not sure. I am not sure why he wasn't on the show. I'm not sure if it's because they wanted this match to main event, and if Roman was on the card, they probably would have had to. I've heard some rumor. I don't think anyone has confirmed it. I've heard some rumors of people saying that Fox was upset at WWE going below 2 million. And that is the reason why they had it on there. I've heard that Roman didn't want to work Sunday or something for Father's Day. I've heard that USA Network is mad that Fox got a Hell in a Cell match and they haven't. So I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. And it's kind of harder to keep going on with it when I don't watch SmackDown. Even when I knew that Hell in a Cell match was happening, I still couldn't watch it. I took a nap instead. Chat's going so fast you can't keep up with it. I'm sorry, my friend. I mean, if it's too crazy, I can put it on slow mode, but I think we're fine. Marcel says the Roman match on SmackDown was 50% commercial. I had heard a couple complaints about that. Ralph says, you want Alexa Bliss to wrestle? She wrestled tonight. Ishan says, I want to see the good ending between Bobby and Drew. Yeah, I don't know why one of them couldn't just win. Why can't Bobby Lashley just beat Drew McIntyre? He's the fucking world champion. Okay? He's the world champion. He's supposed to be the best wrestler in the company on Raw. He's supposed to be the best person. He can't get a clean win. Come on. Good match though. They beat the absolute hell out of each other. It's just annoying when they do stuff like that. I don't understand. JBO says, well, Raw has been trashed for the past 2 months and a Hell in a Cell match wasn't going to save their ratings. I don't think anything is going to save their ratings, to be honest. Even the Roman Reigns Hell in a Cell pay-per-view didn't raise SmackDown's ratings hardly any. And I'm still trying to figure out, I found another source for for ratings. So I'm trying to get back on track with all that stuff and find a reliable source to get numbers, because I occasionally see them on Twitter, but it's so confusing because they come out like they'll have Dynamite ratings on like Wednesday, and it's like, what the like, it throws me for a loop. It's so confusing. I'm used to getting the ratings at 1 p.m. the next day. The very next day, I need ratings for the show. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I can't remember what the website is. Let me see. I have it saved on my phone. I think it's like star something. Where are you? Spoiler TV. Spoiler TV was the one. I'm still trying to figure out how to use their site though. They post a lot of shit. Ayan says, I don't WWE really need to do this pay-per-view, just unnecessary build-up. Yep. I feel that way as well. I don't see why this pay-per-view was needed at all. I really don't. Van says, I see you're missing Showbuzz. I am, man. Showbuzz was so good. And like the thing too that really sucks is that it kind of like Showbuzz gave you everything. So it wasn't just like someone posting, hey, Raw got 1.7 million, or Dynamite on Friday did 460,000 or something, like pretty bad number, right? But it's like, okay, but where did that rank on everything else? What shows are doing what? What was the demo? Like, what else was on that night? Like, I hate being so out of tune with everything. I miss you so much, Showbuzz Daily. I miss you. It was like literally a priceless tool that you didn't know what you had until it was gone. So, man, that sucks. Molly Man says, so much for Brock Lesnar returning. Am I right? I think a lot of people were expecting to see Brock Lesnar tonight, and I think that was fueled by Roman versus Rey Mysterio being put on SmackDown. I think a lot of people were like, that's gotta mean that he's showing up, right? Or that Drew McIntyre was winning. And I roll up or not, man, I am so thankful that Drew McIntyre did not win that match. How's it going, Dirty 30? How you doing, my friend? You as well, Bosley. How are you guys? Thank you for tuning in. Van says, so what is SmackDown's viewership this week? By the way, that Hell in a Cell match was underwhelming. I didn't watch it. I'm not sure what SmackDown's was exactly, but I think it was 1.9 something, 1.9, somewhere around there. Marcel says, rumor is Jungle Boy versus Omega is going to go 60-minute draw on Saturday because they only announced 2 matches. That would be crazy. That would be crazy for a TV show. And it's going to be really weird watching Dynamite on a Saturday. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But I guess it is what it is, man. We're so close to normalcy. We are so close to normalcy. Dynamite's going to be on Wednesdays again. Fans are finally going to be in attendance again. This is the last WWE pay-per-view with the Thunderdome, and I cannot wait for the Thunderdome to be gone because I hate it so much. It is so annoying. I cannot stand it. I cannot wait for fans to get back, and I hope that is the kick in the ass that WWE needs to kind of put their best foot forward, because this kind of stuff it's not going to fly in front of fans. People are starting to understand. People realize that they're watching the same thing every week. And people even realize, like, you know, a lot of the matches tonight, you could say that they were good. There was a lot of good matches tonight. There was a lot of good wrestling. But the finishes, man, it's just like these finishes constantly over and over and over. The distractions, the roll-ups, the disqualifications, like the really weird disqualifications as well. Like, I don't know. We'll talk about a couple of those things when we get into the show as well. James says WWE can't keep doing rematches over and over again. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna get the what chance, they're gonna get the CM Punk chance, they're gonna get the AEW chance. Like, they're gonna have to please people. And if it means, okay, the thing too is that they're gearing up for a huge SummerSlam, right? So we're supposedly getting John Cena is supposed to be a lock for SummerSlam against Roman Reigns. So we're supposed to get all that stuff, and like, you can mask a terrible show behind big appearances from John Cena and stuff like that. There's tons of people that still think that SmackDown is a good show because Roman Reigns is great and is on it for 15 minutes at best, and they still think that 2-hour show is great. So I think that they will get by bringing in Brock Lesnar and John Cena and Becky Lynch and whoever else that needs to come back. I think they'll get by for a little bit, but it'll slowly fade away when people realize that it's not good. It's not good. Elver says, when they announced Hell in a Cell last month, I really thought they were going to do Jimmy Uso versus Roman Reigns. Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen that as well. Oh, whoa, chat just skipped a lot. I'm sorry if I missed your question. I'm trying to get to everyone, but it's moving a little bit fast today. Marcel says, can't wait for fans to be silent for Raw. Ugh, silent would be brutal. And I really hope that they don't use their power that they've gained and start piping in fake crowd noise the whole time and start booing people and as well and stuff and cheering. Like, I really don't want to see that happen like they did at WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan and stuff like that. Fans return till SummerSlam or Money in the Bank. I don't know exactly. The Money in the Bank's supposed to be in like the Dallas area or something like that, from what I understand. So we'll see. Delay says, how about we buy tickets to Monday Night Raw and turn our backs to the ring for the whole show? God, that would be crazy. They would probably kick you out if you did something like that. But I heard that they're not even really, they're not selling tickets for Raw and SmackDown. They're not moving. SummerSlam is a huge ticket item, so that show is sold out, I believe, or very close to being sold out. But from what I understand, they're having a hard time selling Raw and SmackDown tickets. Van says, many people are saying that Hangman will win the AEW Championship at Full Gear, but I don't think so, as Kenny still has to get the IWGP Championship and COVID and already delayed so many things. Yeah, oh man, if that's the case, I gotta go to Full Gear. I got to. We might try to go to All Out again, because we got these, when we were on our flight, we got these like credit card things from the flights or the airline that gave us 60,000 free credits, and I think that's enough. We both got one, so it's enough for us to fly to and from Chicago for free. So we might go to one of those, but I'm trying to see, like, I'd rather go to St. Louis for Full Gear, and because I've never been there, and I've never been to a Full Gear. But I'm also not sure that I'm ready to travel again, because that trip of going to Florida and back was just, it was so awful, and it really just pissed me off and made me not want to travel again. It was just so bad. Safa says, I've heard that SummerSlam has sold out 39,000 tickets and the goal is 41. That's crazy, man. That's a lot of people. That's going to be amazing. I cannot wait. James says, if you have any ideas that even somewhat resemble roll-ups and disqualifications, you can just throw those out right now. Yes, please. Get rid of them. We don't need to see them. They lose. I think I say this pretty much every post show, I feel like. There's a time and a place for everything. And those, obviously, they do have a time and a place in wrestling, but I think that when they're used so often, they just lose their effect. So for me, when I'm watching a main roster WWE product and I see a roll up, I'm just like, man, really? Come on. When I see a distraction, I'm just like, come on. A disqualification, especially this disqualification, I feel like was crazy to have this disqualification. Majin says, why don't they just use their money to make real robots so they can cheer who they want and boo who they want? Oh my God, that would be crazy, man. Don't give them any ideas. Safa says, I actually have Money in the Bank tickets and that show is sold out. Good to know. Good to know. I can't wait. I hope Cesaro wins Money in the Bank. That'd be great. WWE Emoji says, quick question. What was your most favorite pay-per-view of the PC or Thunderdome era? I don't know. To be honest. I have a very bad memory when it comes to pay-per-views and stuff. I probably couldn't even name 3 matches that happened at WrestleMania Backlash, if I'm being honest. Ashley says, the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. Yes, sir. Van says, man, you guys are lucky, but what if Hangman wins the title from Omega without kicking out of the one-winged angel? I mean, that's fine. That's fine. As long as Hangman is the champion. And I think it's going to be obvious when we get there. It's going to be obvious. They've kind of been teasing it a little bit. Every time, like even in this last Dynamite, you know, they had Hangman in the back with the Dark Order talking about the challenge from Powerhouse Hobbs about the singles match. And, oh God, is it Alex Marvez, the guy that was back there interviewing him? He was like, hey, so Kenny Omega has this match with Jungle Boy and you're like in the top 5. So what do you think about that? And this is the second time they've asked him about Kenny and the championship, and he's always just deferred to the Dark Order, and he's like, hey, Johnny Hungy, man, he's getting better. He's almost cleared, and yada 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 yada. He just completely skips what they're looking to talk about. So I think it's coming, but I just don't know when yet. Yes, they're certainly planting the seeds. You think it was Tony? Was it Tony? I don't remember. DNM says, I don't know how they're going to explain the interference and roll up if Drew is no longer going to challenge the title. Wasn't there a stipulation where MVP can't be involved? I have no clue, man. I don't watch the show. All I know is, from what I've been told, is that he can no longer challenge. It was Marvez? Okay. Fickle says Brock and Becky will definitely return on the first Raw with fans. I could see it. There were reports of Becky Lynch. I think they were confirmed as well, that she was at the Performance Center and she was training as well. Skinny says Adam Page doing a hero's journey arc. He's on his way to Kenny. It's going to be incredible, man. When they broke up as a tag team, that entire video package that they did for them was so good. Like, I cannot wait. It's going to be a huge moment. And it doesn't seem like Hangman Adam Page has really been affected by the pandemic at all. Fans are still behind him. The pop that he had at Double or Nothing, like everyone is ready for Hangman Adam Page to be the AEW World Champion. I can't wait. WWE Emoji says Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley is literally the #1 match fans want to see so badly. I know, and I don't understand why they're so reluctant on giving it to people. I don't know why. And like, now is honestly, it's the best time to do it. There isn't a better time than now. Bobby Lashley has been in the company for a couple of years, and he's always just looked like a scrub, right? He's never really been on top of the card. He's never really been doing anything that people connected with until the Hurt Business came along, and then he became WWE champion. And now it's like, now is the time. Now is the time. Pull the trigger. Give us that dream match. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Give it to us. Marcel says Bobby versus Brock will be less than 5 minutes. I would be very pissed if they did something like that where Raphael says, what a mess this match was, and I got blocked. What do you mean you got blocked? Who beats Hangman? A lot of people think that MJF would beat Hangman. I'm not sure, though. Raphael had another post. He said, unrelated, WWE on Fox blocked me on Instagram because they accidentally posted that Charlotte was the new Raw Women's Champion. So I commented the fact that they couldn't tell who won the title goes to show. Really? Oh, no, dude. That's kind of... Okay. That's kind of scary. Did it have Hell in a Cell graphics on it? Because here's the thing. When that match had a disqualification, I think it was WWE that posted it. One of the WWE accounts, like the WWE Network, a Universe One, whatever it is, they have like 5 different accounts that they run. They posted, we should do this again real soon. So I wonder, are they going to run that match back tomorrow? Because a lot of people, like we talked about earlier, and this will kind of validate if this story is actually true or not. But the rumor going around is that USA Network is mad that Fox got a Hell in a Cell match because we haven't seen a Hell in a Cell match on network TV in like 20 years or something like that. 20 plus, more than 20 years. It's been a long time. And this is the first one that SmackDown has ever gotten. So if Rhea Ripley and Charlotte ends in a disqualification this time, and then they run it back tomorrow on Raw in a Hell in a Cell match to please USA Network, and Charlotte wins. Ooh boy. Marcel says Andrade beats Hangman. Hey man, I'm all for that. I am all for that. Hell yeah. Vance says, okay, AEW, I'm doing something which I think many people will call stupid, probably because I have to watch AEW right from the start, as I missed a lot of stuff from the start. Started watching from Full Gear 2020. No, I think you're fine where you're at. I don't think you really need to go back and watch anything. If you wanted to, like, if you hadn't seen the Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega stuff, I'm sure you can find clips of it on YouTube. There's no need to go back and watch all of it just for that. It was like a 3 or 4 minute video. It was very good though. Very good. Raphael says it had the Hell in a Cell graphic and it said the new Raw Women's Champion with a picture of Charlotte. Maybe that's why they blocked me, because I called them out for it. Maybe. Yeah, probably. Or I don't know. Like, I don't know if those accounts are like how connected they are with WWE. So I don't know. Maybe it's possible that they make two different ones where they put an and new and still because they don't have the results and they're just waiting. That's very possible. And this time they just made a mistake. I'm not sure how connected they are. Vance says, you don't ruin Rhea Ripley just like that. I feel like Rhea's already ruined. I really do, unfortunately. Let's talk about the women's division. We will in just a second. We'll get started in just a minute here. Trevin says, is it me or some of the matches tonight would have been better in the cell? Man, if you're going to have a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, put everyone in the cell. Let's go. Let's set that bitch up and let's just go. Let's go the whole time. Let's not slow down. Let's just continue to go. Hell in a Cell after Hell in a Cell. I'd totally be down with that. And I wouldn't even care if the story mattered to get there at that point, because it would just be like, hey, it's the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and all the matches are Hell in a Cell. So like if you got a feud going on and you're going to wrestle on this card, you're shit out of luck, bro, because you're going to be in a Hell in a Cell match. And that's just the way it is. That would have been cool. I don't mind that. WWE Emoji says half of the Hell in a Cell matches were rematches from WrestleMania 37. Well, I mean, there was only 2 Hell in a Cell matches, though. Ashley says WrestleMania Backlash in a Cell sucked tonight. That's funny. Ralph says Raw and SmackDown women's division, it's always the same women. Man, they ruined everything for those tag titles. The tag titles, the women's tag team championships, are the root of all evil in WWE. They cannot book them to save their lives, and they have sacrificed their Raw and SmackDown women's division to make them important, and they messed with NXT as well, and now they have their own. Safa says Drew posted a picture of his back. Yeah, dude, they beat the hell out of each other. Yeah, it's weird that the WWE on Fox account would block you. I would assume that an account like that wouldn't really manage or monitor their comments whatsoever. But I don't know. I guess I'm wrong. Someone had pointed this out the other day to me because I actually commented on something. I'm not very social on social media, which is kind of weird because that's what it's for. But like, for me, I typically stay in my own lane. Like, I pretty much am only in my own posts. Like, I'll like wrestlers, and I only follow wrestlers, so that it's easier for me to like find things that are going on and all that and yada yada yada. But I don't really comment on people's posts or reply to people or anything like that unless it's on my own account. So kind of weird that WWE on Fox would monitor theirs. Vance says, I even calculated that if I start from the 24th of June watching one show every day, I can watch it all till November 5th, November 6th. Good Lord, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Fickle says, even Triple H doesn't know what he wants to do with the women's tag titles. It's terrible, man. It's terrible. You saw I liked Tommy End post. Yeah, I usually like a lot of posts. I just don't comment on them, typically. Typically don't comment. But I heart things. I have no problem with liking things. And it's always like, and I don't have notifications turned on, so like if anyone likes or comments or messages me or something, I don't see it anyway. So usually like if I comment on something, it's just a bunch of people like talking shit or something like that, and it's just like, I'm good. I'm good. Trevin says, I think there were more rematches tonight than at WrestleMania Backlash. There might have been. Marcel says Drew versus Bobby was so brutal, got a roll-up finish. I can't get over a Hell in a Cell ending in a distraction roll-up. Yikes, man. Fickle says Raw post show tomorrow. No, sir. No. Thank you. I am good on that one. We'll be doing AOW Underground tomorrow instead at 5. And that means tonight I need to go through and rewatch a couple of them and do the whole sheets thing. So we have win and loss records and all of that stuff going forward. So I got some work to do when we get off here. WWE Emoji says, I mean, Kevin versus Sami, Cesaro versus Seth, and Bobby versus Drew. Yep, fair enough. Obi James says, what is your early Money in the Bank winner? For me, I'm hoping it's Cesaro. I saw someone mention Damian Priest in the chat somewhere. I can't see it right now. I might have scrolled past, but Damian Priest is a good choice as well. But I heard that he hasn't been on TV in like 5 weeks as well. So I don't know. Dad says, I heard Tommy End was backstage at the pay-per-view today. I believe that was false. I think that was just some weird person that made that and they weren't. So there's a lot of things you have to remember that when you see something online, even if it has 10,000 likes on it or 2,000 likes on it and 400 comments, like it doesn't mean that it's real. So you have to make sure that when someone says that, they're associated with a legit source or there's someone that you trust, because someone had sent me that earlier and I never have heard of the person that said that before. And I follow people who I deem to be respectable, quote unquote insiders, if you will. I don't know if they want to call themselves insiders or what, but I follow Wrestling Inc. and I follow Sean Ross Sapp, like his personal account, like most people probably do, and also Fightful and like all that other stuff. So and Raj from, I know a lot of people, he said something that pissed some people off about women, but you know, they're pretty spot on with the things that they report. And Andrew from Matt Men Podcast, I follow him as well. Wrestle Votes as well. Like those people I trust for their sources. So if people like that post things, like I believe them. I do not believe that Tommy End was backstage at WWE. Rob says, where's Keith Lee? I have no idea. No one knows. Well, I think people know, but they're not posting it because it is personal. So all I know is that he's not cleared to wrestle, and that's pretty much it. Safa says you got Cesaro, Priest, or Zayn. Sami Zayn would be a good one. Jose says, when are you going to create an arena on stream for AEW Underground? I don't know. We're gonna have to do that, huh? I don't know. We'll have to figure out a time to do that, because I wouldn't mind going through and doing an arena and picking out the rest of our pay-per-views and maybe even designing championships as well. Now that, because it seems pretty serious. A lot of people tune in to watch AEW Underground, and a lot of people participate in that. I'm surprised. Like I did it as kind of like a one-off. I didn't think people would want to watch it or would want to hang out. So I'm very surprised. So like I don't have any problem with like sinking some time into it now. Safa says Raj was the one who said Kyle O'Reilly had a seizure and was headed to the hospital. And that was false, if I remember correctly. I mean, people are going to hit and people are going to miss. You just have to. So the thing for me is that this is how I kind of filter through my content. And you'll notice, and this is something I've talked about, I kind of struggle with, is that I don't post a lot of news. So like these other like people that have accounts or websites or whatever it is, they'll post like a million things. They'll post like 100 things a day with a ton of news and tons of things like this and yada, 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 yada. For me, a lot of times I feel like some things that people post aren't really worth posting. I don't really feel like they're that important. And that's something that I think I need to get over and change, because just because I'm not interested doesn't mean that you guys aren't interested. So I need to do that. But one of the things that I also do for news is if something big happens or like there's a big thing and I see it, I don't immediately rush to post it. I wait. And if other people start picking it up, other people as in the sources that I look to, if they start picking it up, then I'm like, okay, then I can post this and do that. I don't want to be that person that, I don't claim to be an insider. I don't pretend like I know what's going on. I don't. I'm just a dude that watches wrestling and I follow the right people on Twitter. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Everyone else has the same power that I do. Everyone else has the same connections that I do. I'm not connected with anyone doing anything. I'm just a guy at the end of the day. That's all. But even with that being said, I don't want to be the guy that is like, hey, guess what? Zelina Vega just re-signed with WWE. And then I get everyone really excited or everyone gets pissed off because Aleister Black just got released. Like, and it's not true because she didn't sign anything with anyone. At least not yet, to people's knowledge. Sean Rossap said no. Dave Meltzer said no. There was no actual contract. So I don't like to jump the gun on certain things. So I don't know. That's just kind of me. I don't want to be that guy where it's like, oh, well, Authors of Wrestling posted this, so it's probably fake. Like it's probably not real. I like the fact that for the most part, I can post things and people will believe them or trust in my process, which is where I go with everything. Like, I don't care about likes. I don't care about comments. I don't care about follows. Like, I prefer to have a better, what would you call that? What is that called? Oh my God, is I don't know. Reputation, I guess. I would rather have a better reputation than most people, I guess. And I'm more so like, I've always been more so community based. So like, I would rather hang out and chat with you guys about things rather than like trying to put out news first or trying to like break news or do shit. Like, that's not what I'm here to do. I don't care about doing any of that. I'm just here to talk about the shows that I like, talk about the things that maybe I don't even like. But more so like, I'm just here to have a conversation with you. And that's why I'm so active in my comments, like everywhere, on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm very active in my comments because that's what matters to me. I don't care about posting memes or anything like that. I want to talk to the community. And that's why I feel like with this Authors of Wrestling account, I feel like it'd be much more fun to stop doing live coverage on this account, this main account, and have more so like discussions and then do the live coverage somewhere else. But I don't know, because I just like discussing things, and I think it's fun to like pick other people's brains. Because even here on the post shows, there's a lot of times where like someone will mention something and I'm like, holy shit, I never thought about that. That is such a good idea. Or like I'll say something and then someone else will be like, oh, that's cool, but like, what if you did this too? Like, instead of this little piece, what if you did this? And it's like, damn, we're cooking. Like, we're onto something. Like, I really like stuff like that. Marcel says, could you imagine the tribal chief versus God's favorite champion money feud? That'd be great. Safa says, I think that Fightful or Mat Men podcast are the most reliable sources. I don't even trust the Wrestling Observer. Yeah, I don't. I'm mostly like, if Dave Meltzer says something, I'll kind of run with it as long as it's with someone else as well. You know, or if it's something that's kind of out in the open, I'll just be like, hey, Dave Meltzer says this. I don't necessarily know if this shit's true or not, but like, I don't know. I'm just putting this out here, okay? Anthony says, what are we talking about? Oh, we're just kind of hanging out before. We'll get into the show in just a second. Better image, yeah, like, you know, just trustworthy. That's what I want to be, trustworthy. James says, of all things that can get you disqualified, I don't know that the announce tabletop counts as a weapon. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's something I want to talk about when we get to that match, as well. WWE Emoji says, my Money in the Bank winners are hopefully Keith Lee and Liv Morgan. That'd be crazy. Nick says, that's what I wanted to do with my Real Talk WWE account, but I never have time. It's time consuming, man. Like so I've always considered live coverage like a quick and dirty tactic, because it's like, it's very easy content. Like, you don't have to do shit. You could just watch the show and post it. But yeah, like opinion pieces, man, they're pretty difficult to like come across and have conversations about without being like, one of the things too with like conversations is you don't want to be so boring, right? And so generic. Like, I don't ever want, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being like, who's your favorite WWE champion or something, but like, I feel like those are fine, but like having more in-depth things about like what's happening is where I want to be. Ian says, I got to go have a exam, so have an amazing night. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I appreciate you. Good luck on your exam. We'll be on the gaming channel tomorrow for some AOW Underground if you are available. Marcel says, the Butcher, the Blade, the Bunny, and Tommy End is a money faction. Yeah, actually, I agree with you. That's great. That is great. Safa says, Sheamus is still out with a broken nose. He was rumored to have a triple threat match tonight at the pay-per-view. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Molly Man says, no, I'm the one who said of all things that can get you disqualified. Yeah. I don't know about that. Because can't you put someone through the table during a match and that is not a disqualification, right? I'm pretty sure. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Ralph says, can they work on Drew Gulak's character? He has so much. I really wish that they would have kept on the Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak thing because I loved that. I loved it. That was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. Anthony says, fun fact, Alexa Bliss has not lost in 330 days. Wow. That's a long time. That's a really long time. Who do I think is going to feud with Bobby now? I have no idea. I have no clue whatsoever. I think it probably doesn't help that I don't watch Raw. So I don't know. I don't think there's any challengers. And I think that's the problem. You know, like, you can say, we talked about this briefly, that yes, when you have these people return, when you have Brock Lesnar return, when you have John Cena and Becky Lynch, when these people return, yes, people are going to tune in probably. You're going to have higher viewership. People are going to watch the shows. They're going to enjoy the shows more. But here's the thing. You've missed out on these people for so long. And you have failed to build up anyone. Who's the rising star out of all of this? No one, really. Drew McIntyre was the champion. Maybe, I guess you could argue maybe Bobby Lashley is the one that has come up from that, but he's the champion. So who's the challengers? Who's the legit challengers for Bobby Lashley? I don't think there's any. Van says Cesaro. I would make that argument as well, Cesaro. So Cesaro and Bobby Lashley have come up. Maybe you could make the argument for Roman Reigns, because I don't know how that would have been with crowds or whatever. So you have three people. And if we let's remove Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is a goddamn superstar before any of this happened. And I even feel like you could make that argument for Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley as well. You could remove those people because they've always been main eventers, at least for a while. DNM says, gotta go, man. College is tomorrow. Good luck, man, in school. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. So, like, who's stepping up here? Who was not in the main event scene that is now in the main event scene? It's Cesaro, I guess. If you want to consider Cesaro in the main event scene, it's Cesaro. Out of the entire company, they've elevated one person. And Cesaro isn't even someone that needed to be elevated. He just needed to be put in the right spot. Because fans have loved Cesaro for years. So all they had to do was just put him there, and everyone would have accepted it. So over this course of this entire time, nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. And that's what I talk about when I say that everyone is in just like a giant mush of nothingness. Because it's, hey, this person gets the win over this person, but guess what? It's a roll up. So that person gets the victory, but the person that lost gets beat up afterwards. So everyone's weak strong. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Marcel says Bobby versus Kofi is the next feud. And I'm not mad at that either, but I don't know. Tease for Money in the Bank. Interesting. Okay. James says, actually, the 10-man tag match at Throwback SmackDown was Sami's first win of the year. Fair enough. Did you see the brutal kicks from Charlotte was hitting on Rhea? I have not. No. Make the image the bearded John Cena photo. I haven't seen a bearded John Cena photo yet. Zach says it's my son's birthday today, so I'm gonna have to leave so I can get some sleep before he wakes up. Good night, everyone. Hope you enjoy. Hey, man. Happy birthday to your son, man. Let me give some money for your sons and some moves. Happy birthday to your son, Zach. Happy birthday to your son, man. Hopefully, you guys have a great day. Thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for being a disciple. Post it. I don't have time to get it from here because I'm not logged in to Instagram on my computer. I'll take a look at it after the show though. I'm so behind on my messages. Like I apologize. If you've sent me a message and I haven't gotten back to you yet. The Florida trip really set me back like a lot. So I have to get through them. I have like over 100 messages to go through. It says I saw it. I don't remember seeing it, at least. Let's see here. Anthony says Father Rollins get a pass because it's Father's Day. Fair enough. John Morrison needs to be a main eventer. Yeah, man, they really need to do that. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. You are welcome. Delay says, watch out. Everyone thinks Lesnar's coming back at Money in the Bank, but it's actually going to be the belt collector, Kenny Omega. He's coming to fulfill that prophecy because JR called him the WWE champion. He's coming to claim it. You better watch out, Bobby Lashley. All right. Been doing this for 50 minutes. Let's go ahead and talk about the show. Maybe it's time. maybe it's actually time to talk about the show. Van says the schoolboy is the most powerful wrestling move. Drew Gulak. Yeah, one of them. That and the roll up. James says, imagine if someone chanted fickle fuck at a WWE show. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Nothing, Philip. We're just about to get ready to talk about the show. John says main event scene Morrison, maybe Baszler returns. I could see Baszler returning. I think he did that out of character thing with Ryan Satin, and I believe he said that he would be good to go. Good to go back to the main roster. It feels like he has some stuff to prove, and as long as they let Baszler just kind of be the Finn Balor that he's been in NXT, I think he'll do fine. But if they start changing things up again, it's not going to work. James says, I was shocked Rollins won, but at the same time, I knew and imagined that Rollins was going to get beat by Cesaro at the pay-per-view after WrestleMania with an upset victory. Yeah, I had Cesaro winning in my predictions, but when they were talking about how this was a one-sided feud and that how Cesaro has all the wins over Father Rollins, I was like, oh yeah, this is probably not going to happen the way I thought it was. WWE Emoji says, unpopular opinion, I think WWE 2018 was actually the best year. That might probably be unpopular, but I don't know. I guess it just depends on what years you're comparing it to. Like, of all time, I would say probably unpopular. Molly Man says, I'd rather see Kenny Omega have the Universal Championship instead of the WWE Championship for his belt collection. Ralph says, we need some factions. Yes. I still can't believe they broke up the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business was so good. They had so much life left in them. There's your cursed image. I can't see it on here if you posted it on here. 2016 was the best year. A lot of people love 2016 SmackDown. Elvis says, Finn Balor says he'll bring back the Demon King one day, but I don't want him to. I feel that WWE will repeat their mistake and make Finn look weak without his demon persona. Yeah, the demon's kind of weird. It's kind of a hard thing to book, if you ask me. Good thing this pay-per-view wasn't called WrestleMania Backlash. Backlash? I'm surprised it wasn't called WrestleMania Hell in a Cell. Can I see it? No, we can't see. I don't see any pictures on here. Ashley says the Hurt Business is the only thing stopping me from completely giving up on Raw. Yeah, Her Business was so good, man. So good. It's crazy to think that how much terrible things we have gone through and and stayed with them. But man, I'm not gonna lie. I'm living my dream life right now by not watching Raw and SmackDown. It's so great. Do Twitter links not work? I didn't see any Twitter link. Do I want to be a part of WWE Creative one day? No. Absolutely not. No. Nope. I don't want to work for anyone, to be honest. I'm happy doing my own thing. I don't need a company to back me for anything and shoo me into one thing. I want to do the whole reason why I started my own business was to do whatever I want to do. I don't want to only work for one wrestling company. Like if I want to watch AEW, I'm going to watch AEW. If I want to watch WWE, I'm going to watch WWE. If I want to watch Ring of Honor, I'm going to watch it. I don't care. I don't know. The freedom is something that it's amazing, man. And I would never want to get rid of the freedom. It's next level. I can do whatever I want whenever I want. and that's not something I'd be willing to trade. Vance says, I'm pretty sure Vince won't be like, dude. He would just be like, your comment, stop complaining on everything. They would throw me out of Titan Tower so fast. Elvis says, Bray Wyatt is the only thing stopping me from giving up on WWE. Man, I hope he comes back. I miss him. Anthony says, give full details on how it feels to not watch WWE. It's nice to not feel annoyed all the time. And it's refreshing. Like, I don't know. I'm going through like a phase where I just want to have fun and hang out and do things that I enjoy. And I started watching WWE, and I started covering WWE more so because I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I didn't mind. Like, I actually wanted to be home on Monday to watch Raw. Like, that's where I wanted to be. On Fridays, I wanted to be at home watching SmackDown. And then, you know, I enjoyed them so much that I actually started covering them, and then people started following me, and then we got to this point, and then the shows like drastically changed, or either that or my views on wrestling drastically changed. I don't know. Could be both. Probably is a mixture of both at some point. But I don't know. It became a chore where it was like, fuck, it's Monday. That means I have to sit there for 3 hours to watch Raw. And then that means I have to do at least an hour or a 2-hour post show on it. And it's like, I'm not motivated to watch this show. Like, I just don't like it. And I never wanted to be, my intention was never to just like be negative. That was never what I wanted, ever. So I think right now it's just good for me to keep my distance. And I think that when fans come back, that will be the first Raw and SmackDown that I return to watch. I'll come back for those, and we'll see how they go. And, you know, if they're good, I'll continue to watch them and maybe continue to cover them. I kind of want to get away from covering live coverage. I kind of want to do some other things that I talked about. I guess I'll talk about that before we get into the show as well. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to move AOW Underground and FFBW to another time slot or another night for those. But it'll be interesting to see. I at least want to watch the first ones with fans back and go from there. And if they're good, I'll continue watching. If not, I'll probably tune out again. So the other thing that I talked about, or that I wanted to talk about, was that I had this idea. And it's crazy because I was watching Lucha Underground. And so I've told you guys a lot of times that like I prefer to work at night. So I typically start working when these post shows are done. That's usually when I do my work for the day. So while I'm working, I like to binge watch things. So I'll binge watch TV shows on Netflix or documentaries or whatever. So I recently I finished How I Met Your Mother again for the second time. And I started watching Lucha Underground because I had heard lots of great things about Lucha Underground, but I never wanted to support them because of all the terrible things that I heard that they did. So I was watching Lucha Underground, and I really enjoy Lucha Underground. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I love Lucha Underground. It's a lot of fun to watch. And it's crazy to see the people that are in Lucha Underground from back in the day that are in other promotions today and are popular today. So I was like, man, you know, I'm really enjoying this. And then I had a wrestler from NWA say that their shows were great, the Power was good, and to check them out. And I was like, man, you know, I kind of want to do like a Patreon and not necessarily do live coverage of things, but do like more in-depth reviews on them. Because like one of the things that I think sucks about my like Instagram is that there's no search function for many of it. So like, if you want to see what I said about the last year's Hell in a Cell, you just good fucking luck finding it. Like, you're going to have to scroll through 12,000 posts to try to find things. So I was like, man, it would be so cool if I could do this and then just do them like later at night and do more in-depth things, or like do in-depth videos on certain things where it'd be so much easier. Like, live coverage sucks because you're constantly trying to take screenshots or find pictures, and then you're trying to watch the show and you're trying to write out a caption, you're trying to interact with people. Like there's a lot of distractions that take away from it. So I thought it'd be really cool to do something on Patreon, but do it like later that night. So like you get it at like whenever I have time that night or like the next day or something, but like they're full HD pictures, full videos, full GIFs of like cool moments and everything that I loved. And like more than anything, the cool part is that it's like logged. So it's like if you ever wanted to see something, you could just type in Hell in a Cell, go right to Hell in a Cell. I think that's really cool. So I don't know if it's something that I'm actually going to do or not, because it's a lot of work. And I feel like I just keep adding to my workload. But I don't know. It's something I'm considering doing. Last season, I didn't mind the last season of How I Met Your Mother. Like it was still like good, I feel like, but the whole story of like him meeting her, and like I won't spoil it for anyone if they haven't seen it, but the last like episode or two were just bullshit. Like it was so dumb. Like the whole thing was stupid. So stupid. It pisses me off. And the reason why I rewatched it is because I saw the guy that played Ted. He posted something that said, he said that the ending of How I Met Your Mother was actually really good. People are just too mad at the outcome. So I was like, you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe I was just a little mad. So I was like, you know, I'm not going to just rewatch that. I'm going to rewatch the entire series. And it was still trash. Sorry, Ted. Still trash. Ashton says, if there's one person that I would feel would thrive in WWE creative, that person would be Bray Wyatt. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I completely agree, man. WWE Emoji says, at least be grateful that WWE tried their best to keep us entertained throughout those tough times. And I think we should give them credit for some amazing matches they gave us on TV. See, I disagree. I don't think that they should be rewarded with participation trophies. I do appreciate that the talent tried their best to do what they did, but WWE, you know, like I got that criticism a lot when WWE, like at the very beginning of the pandemic, when WWE was like, they couldn't put on a full show, so they aired like the stuff from WrestleMania. Like they gave you an hour's worth of content and then gave you like an hour and a half worth of bullshit that you've already seen. And it was like, look, we can all like appreciate what they're doing, but let's not call it like it is. Like if you can't put on a TV show, don't do it. Or if you can't put on a TV show, don't like be like, hey, look, we got an hour of great Monday Night Raw television for you tonight, and bam, right? First hour of Raw. And then they say, look, we ain't gonna lie, right? Like there's a pandemic going on. Everything is fucked up right now. We're not gonna lie. So guess what? Like, here's our top 2 WrestleMania matches to fill out the rest of the night. But what they did was they sprinkled shit throughout the entire show that you were forced to sit there and watch the entire thing over and over and over. And like, I get it. They probably have obligations to do certain things, but it's so frustrating for me and all the other people. Like, I get it. If you don't have the WWE network at that time, like it's cool that you get to see WrestleMania for free, right? Or some matches. But like for us, we just watched that yesterday. Like, why are you showing me this 45-minute match with AJ Styles and The Undertaker? It was good, but like, damn, I watched it yesterday. I don't need to watch it again today. So like, I don't subscribe to the whole like participation thing. And as a comparison, WWE has been in business for how long? 30 years, something, yada, yada, yada. And they couldn't figure out how to navigate through the pandemic. Tony Khan, they've been in business for 1 year. And this man's had enough smarts to go and tape like 2 months worth of TV shows while they could. And they got shut down while they were doing it. But he had the mind to be like, hey, we might be fucked here. So let's do what we can while we can, get this content. And if we need to, we'll just pump out pre-recorded content. And WWE was like, what? Okay. I'm going to give you 4, 3 out of, or best out of 3 falls, 2 out of 3 falls matches. I'm going to give you 4 of those. And then we're going to rewatch a match from WrestleMania and then Money in the Bank. And like, yeah, no, I'm not with me. Watch Money Heist. I will get there eventually, my friend. I will get there. Warrior says, we shouldn't be giving the biggest wrestling company in the world a pass because they tried. Yeah, and I don't think they deserve it. I don't. If you have the balls to put a TV show on air, then you have the balls to be then you should have the balls to be criticized by that as well. And that's just my stance on it. Like if someone else feels that way, like if you feel that way, WWE emojis, like that's cool. That's your opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I just don't. I felt like, and I said this that whole time, like if you're going to put your show on air, then I'm going to tell you what I think about it. I mean, that's just kind of the way that it was for me. Did I see what Bobby tweeted? I did not. No. Who do you think got the biggest push during the Thunderdome? For me, it was Jay. Yeah, Jay did get a pretty decent push. Oh, and Marcel said he sent me that image. Oh my God. Here, I think I can I show this? I think I can. Here, let me show you this bearded picture of John Cena that they sent me. Display capture. Middle monitor. And that would be this one. There you go. Look at that. John Cena with all the hair and the beard. Good Lord, man. Oh God. Okay, so to see what Bobby said. He said, "You mad? Back of the line." That's actually really funny. I'm gonna retweet that. Retweet that. John Cena with a beard? Yes, cursed. John Cena with a beard. Oh yeah, I already read that. MVP says Brock Lesnar fans fears Bobby Lashley. Yes, he does, man. Yes, he does. All right, let's get into the show. My apologies. We've been over an hour. Let's talk about the show. Okay, so tonight, well, I guess it was the pre-show for tonight, but tonight's, kickoff show, not pre-show, kickoff show. It was announced about 35 minutes, 40 minutes before the kickoff show that Natalya would be taking on Mandy Rose. Why? I have no idea. I guess they've been kind of feuding back and forth. Why this wasn't a tag team match blows my mind. So I saw a singles match and I said, okay, I see what's going on here, right? Mandy Rose is going to beat Natalya, and then they're going to, that's the way that they're going to earn their tag team championship opportunity, right? Wrong. Very surprised. Very surprised. iCarly? No, I've never watched iCarly before. I think they brought it back though, didn't they? I think they brought it back recently. But yeah, Natalya ended up getting the win over Mandy Rose, and this was actually, it was a pretty decent match, and Natalya got the win from Sharpshooter, made Mandy Rose tap out. I don't necessarily know what this means for the tag team championships, the women's ones, of course. It's a disaster. It's always been a disaster, if you ask me. I don't understand why they have these things. They don't book them correctly. None of it makes sense. Obi James says Dana Brooke versus Tamina tomorrow on Raw. Yeah, I could see that happening, and like Dana Brooke beats Tamina or something like that, or Tamina beats Dana Brooke and they're like, yeah, well, you know what? These are singles matches. We could beat you in a tag team match. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a problem with them having women's tag team championships, but I just wish that they would book them correctly and that they wouldn't sacrifice their singles divisions for those titles as well, because you have to think that when you have these titles that they're for two people, so the two people holding them, that's two. The challengers, now we have four people, and you have to have at least more than that, right? So now we're at 6, and if you have another one, that's 8. So if you had one team as the champions, right, and then that'd be 1, 2, 3. And then 4 other teams, that would only be 10 women. That's 10 women. And that's more women than they have on the entire roster for SmackDown. I think they only have 7. So if there's 7 women on the SmackDown roster and you remove 3 of them because one of them is a SmackDown Women's Champion and then 2 of them are the tag champs, that leaves 4 people. You have 4 people. That means that's 2 teams. Come on, there's not enough. Not enough. Anthony says, what would you do with the women's tag titles? I would burn them. I would get rid of them. Either that, or I would sign more people, or bring in more people. I think that what they should have done is they should have had them go to NXT, and they should have lost them to NXT, and NXT should have had them for a little bit. And that would be a nice little way to bring two girls from NXT to Raw and SmackDown as well, and get some showtime up there. And then eventually, they could drop them somewhere, and, they could rotate through them like that. I don't think that NXT needed their own pair of them, because I don't think they're helping at all whatsoever. WWE Emoji says, Iconics, Kabuki Warriors, Riot Squad, Mandy, Sonya, they all deserve better. Yeah. They broke up Mandy and Sonya Deville to put Mandy with Dana Brooke. They broke up the Riot Squad to release Sarah Logan and to split up Liv and Ruby, only for Liv to kind of get pushed in this main event scene-ish type thing, only to be forgotten about and revert right back to the Riot Squad. It doesn't make any sense. Iconics released. Come on. Obi James says all the teams for the 2019 Elimination Chamber tag team match are no more. That's crazy. That is crazy. Trevin says, I saw where Sonya was training for a return, though. I hope that Sonya returns. I had Sonya for my women's Money in the Bank winner. I hope that there's a swerve when she does that, because I think Sonya Deville could be their like homegrown Ronda Rousey. Like, she has that background. She has that same everything that Ronda Rousey has. She's just not Ronda Rousey, but she's great. Like, she has that aura. She has everything about her. She's huge in the LGBTQ community and all that stuff as well. Like, she's perfect for WWE. She's perfect. And I don't know. I know that the stuff with the stalker stuff kind of took her out of it. So hopefully she's able to get back into it, because I think that Sonya Deville is a hidden gem. I really do. Sonya Deville is very, very, very good. I think she has everything that it takes to get up there. Philip says, I got to head out because I got to go to the dentist to check on my teeth, 11 a.m. Thank you, man, for tuning in, Philip. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Sonya would never top Ronda. Not top her, but she could be their Ronda, like their homegrown Ronda. She has that MMA background. She has like an attire similar to her. Like, she just has that aura around her. And I don't know why they didn't take advantage of that. And Sonya versus Ronda would have been great as well. James says the only women's tag team idea is to have Mia Yim and Liv Morgan. Why would they put them together? Obi James says Sonya was the best female heel in WWE. She was so good, man. Her epic suit game, on point. On point. Okay, so let's see. Tonight's episode, or tonight's pay-per-view, the actual main pay-per-view, started off with Bianca Belair defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Bayley inside a Hell in a Cell match. And I don't know how we got here, but it seems like we got here from a bunch of laughing. And I don't know how you guys sat through 4 weeks plus of whatever it was on SmackDown with Bayley laughing like that, but man, during the opening segment, I just wanted to turn this shit off, because that drove me nuts. So it seems like we got this Bianca Belair and Bayley match because Bayley was cringe laughing. She was like every face in the Thunderdome, apparently, on an episode of SmackDown. So here we are, Hell in a Cell. And like I said before, when we started this show, is that I don't think this match belonged in a Hell in a Cell. And that goes to the whole thing of these forced Hell in a Cell matches that you have every single year. They're just not needed. They're not needed. They need to get rid of these pay-per-views. And this match could have been like no disqualification or something. That's fine. Or it could have just been a match. And overall, like, I thought the match was good. It was your standard formula of a WWE Hell in a Cell match in today's climate. Pretty much the standard things that you see. Lots of kendo sticks in Hell in a Cell matches tonight. That was like the star of the show, I feel like, is the kendo stick. The only thing that really stuck out in this match to me was the finish. And the finish was great. So Bianca Belair there's this ladder in the ring. It's a smaller ladder, a WLC ladder, if you will. And Bianca opened up the ladder so that it was kind of like in a standing position, but it was still laying on the ground so that it was open, like a, what is that sign? I don't know, whatever. So she has it open. She picks up Bayley for the KOD and drops her on top of the ladder with it open. That was such a really cool finish. That had to have hurt like hell if I had to guess. And that was great. That was great. I love the finish for this. A good win for Bianca Belair as well. I think that Anthony says, can we talk about Bayley saying shut up to Michael Cole? Yes. That was my favorite part of of the entire thing. I can't remember what he was about to say, but Michael Cole, they were on the outside. Michael Cole was talking and Bayley was standing up, and she looks over at him and she says, shut up, Michael Cole. They already know. It was just hilarious. Like the the rivalry between Bayley and Michael Cole is legendary. Let me get Bayley and Michael Cole in a Hell in a Cell match. That's what I want to see. That was my second favorite part of this match because, like I said, the finish was so good. The KOD on top of the ladder, amazing. Huge win for Bianca Belair. Like a solid win. That's how champions should win their matches. Bianca didn't need no distraction. Nothing. She won clean. Perfect. This makes her look like a dominant champion. And I think that when fans start to come back, that Bianca Belair, she's going to connect very well with the fans. And I think everything is going to be good to go. Safa says Pat McAfee was going off on Adam Cole too tonight. Yeah, I saw that Adam Cole had posted a couple things about Pat McAfee on Twitter as well. That's what I need, man. Give me Adam Cole on SmackDown. Just do it. I think they can make it work. I have way more faith in SmackDown than I do on Raw, but I think Adam Cole, if booked correctly, I think he could work well on SmackDown. And I don't necessarily have faith that they can book him correctly, but I think everything is there. And one of the things that I said a long time ago was when the Undisputed Era broke up and Adam Cole lost that match to Kyle O'Reilly, keep Adam Cole off TV for a while. Have him show up on SmackDown. Have him do his thing. Have the Undisputed Era remain in NXT and do their thing. And then whenever the time is right, have all three of them come up. Or even like if they want to kick Roderick Strong and leave him out, I think that would be fine as well. But you at least need Kyle and Bobby Fish. Have the two of them or the three of them, just like their debut, come in and attack. And then the Undisputed Era reunites on the main roster. I think that'd be perfect because Adam Cole is great. And I think Adam Cole could connect with the SmackDown fan base. I think he could. So you put Adam Cole there. You let Adam Cole connect to everyone else. And then when you need to, when the time calls for it, you have the other guys come in and he can lead them and he can help push them to the other people as well. I think that's the way to do it. Trevor says, I'm not sure who challenges Bianca next, nor Reigns or Lashley for that matter. Yeah, they have that's what we're talking about. They haven't built up any competitors for anything, any challengers. They really just throw people in. So now that Bayley, if this is even the end for Bianca Belair and Bayley, it could continue on. But they'll just be like, oh, here's Carmella. There you go. There it is. There's the feud. No reason why. They'll just throw her in there. Let's see here. Obi James says McAfee was MVP of the night. I didn't mind the commentary tonight. I didn't mind it. Tanver says, why do I have a feeling McIntyre will win Money in the Bank and cash in on Lashley? Man, that would be a terrible decision. Terrible. If they have Drew McIntyre win Money in the Bank, that would be god awful. I'm still on the mindset that things like Money in the Bank, King of the Ring, the Royal Rumble, I feel like those should be matches to help boost those people up to the next level. Like a Cesaro, for instance, right? Like Cesaro was really good in the tag team division, and Cesaro has floated around the mid card for quite a while, but fans love Cesaro. And if you ask me, I would tell you that if I was Vince McMahon, if I ran WWE, Cesaro would be a multi-time world champion by now. Multi-time, without a doubt. I love him so much. He's so great. Everything is there for Cesaro. So what you do is you use these things to help propel said person up to that main event scene. So if Cesaro wins Money in the Bank, that's an instant free ride for him right into the Money in the Bank scene. If Cesaro wins the Royal Rumble, you guessed it, Cesaro gets a main event match at WrestleMania. Instant main event scene. There's no reason. And you can do this, like, of course, I think that it shouldn't always be that way. There should be exceptions for people to do things. But, like, I don't feel like there's any reason for someone like Brock Lesnar to win a Royal Rumble at this point. I don't feel like there's any reason for Brock Lesnar to win Money in the Bank. Well, we got some enjoyable moments from Lesnar winning Money in the Bank, but the guy doesn't need it. Like, Brock Lesnar can show up tomorrow and be like, hey, I want to face Roman. And, you know, people will be like, cool, he belongs there, right? He can show up tomorrow and challenge Bobby Lashley, and people are like, cool. They're not going to be like, oh, he has to win 5 matches before, he has to do this. It's just like, he's one of those people that can just insert himself in. So same with like Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, like all stuff like that. I feel like those matches should be reserved for other people like Cesaro, Damian Priest, Sonya Deville, like other people who could use that boost. That's just me. Obi James says, I can't take another week of Bayley's cringe laughing and Bianca's anti-bullying promos. Yeah, well, hopefully they're over. Van says, I think everyone is friends with Michael Cole and they love to make fun of him, like Jericho saying, of course you got a mail, you stupid idiot, just read it. Yeah, I would assume so. You always bully your friends, you know? Lever says, I'm doing a pay-per-view on WWE 2K20 called BCW One Night Stand. Nice. How's that going, my friend? Safa says, the NXT Instagram page posted a picture of Roderick Strong and his son for Father's Day, but deleted it a few minutes later after people in the comments asked about it. Interesting. Very interesting. I feel like I saw that. Earlier. Safa says they tried it with Alberto Del Rio in 2011 after he won the Royal Rumble at Money in the Bank, but he never got over. Yeah, I mean, that's on them. I mean, I know that it's kind of a 50-50 thing, right? Like, of course, you cannot... Not every single person doesn't have what it takes to be a star. And that's just the way that it is. That's life, right? And that's not anything bad about them. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a mid-carder. There's nothing wrong with being a tag team person. Not every single person needs to be a world champion. So, like, of course, there are those people that don't have it. But if some people do have it, put them there. Or help get them there. If you feel like, hey, this guy can't talk, give him someone that can talk. Or give him lessons. I feel like people should get chances for things. Because a lot of things in WWE is so repetitive. It's so boring. It's the same main event scene that's been happening for the past 5-10 years. It's like the same people. No one has gotten over. Nothing has changed. It's always the same. Imagine if Vince won Money in the Bank. Oh, God. Main event title spots should belong to people who need it. Yeah, like, and I think it helps build up other people as well, because I've talked about this multiple times as well, is that there's nothing wrong with a loss, a defeat. If you get in a match with Brock Lesnar and you get squashed like Kofi in 9 seconds, that is terrible. And that looks bad. But if you are Kofi and you get in a match with Brock Lesnar, you go 20 minutes and you lose, that's a W. Brock Lesnar, people will argue that he's one of the best, right? Beast sense, not one of the best wrestlers in the world, but he's a beast, right? So if you can last 20 minutes with him, that's a W. If you can last 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the ring with AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, that's a win. That's a win for you. So I don't understand why they have to book these things where it's like, oh, they have a good match and this guy gets over a little bit, but then he gets rolled up and loses. Because that makes you look dumb. That makes you look really dumb when that happens all the time. Obi James says, gonna head out. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Hopefully you have a good rest of your night. WWE Emoji says, I don't want Alberto Del Rio back in WWE. I don't think he would ever be back. I don't think he would ever come back to WWE. I don't think they'd allow that. And anyways, back to the show. The next match up for tonight. There wasn't very many matches tonight, by the way. The next match on the card was Cesaro taking on Seth Rollins. And originally in my predictions, I had Cesaro getting the W here, but man, they started talking about how this was a one-sided feud and that Cesaro had the up and up on Seth Rollins, and they kept hounding that home. And I'm like, man, these sons of bitches, they're going to have Seth Rollins win, aren't they? And like, I thought this match was great. I thought this match was really good. They beat the hell out of each other. Cesaro looked very strong. He had the upper hand for most of it. And there were a lot of parts where they had Cesaro like still standing after a couple moves. So Seth Rollins kind of had a little bit of a hard time dropping him down, which was great. I thought that this made Cesaro look great. And I was like, okay, you know what? If Seth Rollins wins, it's not really the end of the world because they booked this match pretty well. And then there you have it. The roll up. The most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. The surprise roll up. Seth Rollins gets the win over Cesaro. And you know what? You guessed it. This feud is not over. This feud is certainly not over. You're going to see more of this on SmackDown, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. Because I feel like they could be doing better with Cesaro. After he beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, that should have been it. That should have been a whole new thing for him. That match was great at WrestleMania, by the way. That I feel like Cesaro was a big star in that show. I feel like that win did a lot for him, and it should have really gone on to help him do some other things instead of just being trapped in this pointless feud with Seth Rollins. It doesn't even make sense. They're just these fully fleshed out stories, quote unquote. Like none of them are stories. They don't really make sense. They just continue to do them for months and months and months. And you can have feuds without continuing them every single time. Vance says, seems like not waking up at 4:30 was a great idea for me. Yeah, I don't think this show was worth watching, if I'm being honest. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but for someone who hasn't really been caring about the main roster product, I don't feel like this show was worth watching. I feel like it was filler. I really do. Trevin says, I don't think they have another match, at least not at Money in the Bank, because one of them has to be in the ladder match. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them are in the ladder match, to be honest with you. I could see both of them being in it. I'm not sure who the other person from SmackDown would be. I guess Sami or Kevin? Maybe? James says, when Alexa Bliss played Mirror Mirror on the Wall with Nia Jax, I was shocked. Yeah, man, I'm not a fan of that. We'll get to that. Ash says, if Brock thinks you're a worthy main eventer, he'll have a great match with you. For example, AJ Styles. If he doesn't think you're a main eventer, he will beat you in seconds. For example, Kofi. Yeah, like, in that interview with Finn Balor, I think he said that working with Brock Lesnar was his favorite match. And that was at Royal Rumble. That was the one that I was at, I believe. And it was great. It was enjoyable. If Brock wants to work, he can. And I hope that when that, fingers crossed, that it inevitably happens, when the paths cross between Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, I hope that he shows up to work. I do, because it's a dream match that people have been dying to see. I hope they actually pull the trigger and make it great. Remember AJ Styles' theme song from New Japan? I do not. I haven't seen something like that in so long. Let's see here. So next up was definitely everyone's favorite match of the night, or at least when this show started really, really taking a turn for the worse. The roll up was kind of like, all right, I got my hands up and I'm like, you know what? I might let this one slide depending on what else happens, but I have my eye on you, WWE. I'm watching. Okay? I'm watching what you're planning to do with the rest of this show. I'm watching. You better behave. This next match, I was like, oh shit. They're gonna follow it with this match. Okay, here we go. So Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler. And Shayna Baszler brings Reginald and Big with her to... Oh, hold on. I gotta mute my Echo show because Alexa. Okay. So, this match. Not for me. Not for me. I do not like what they're doing with Alexa Bliss. I do not like that she is hypnotizing people. I do not like that Shayna Baszler is at the end of that. If you're going to do it to someone else. Do you want to do it to Reginald? Cool. No one gives a shit about Reginald, okay? Supposedly Vince McMahon loves Reginald, by the way. I read that. No one cares about Big either. Have a heyday. Shayna Baszler? Does anyone remember the Shayna Baszler from NXT? No? One of the most dominant NXT women's champions they've ever had? That Shayna Baszler? Nope. That's just a myth. A legend. That Shayna Baszler doesn't exist. How about the Shayna Baszler that eliminated every single person from the women's Elimination Chamber match? She's gone. They have Shayna Baszler on TV being scared of a uncrustable sandwich. You go to any grocery store, go down the frozen aisle, look for the little kid sandwiches, and there you have an Uncrustable. Peanut butter and jelly Uncrustable. I don't get it. Check out the picture of Drew I sent you on Instagram. I'll check it out after the show. I'll check it out. I don't get it. And you guys know, I'm fine with the hokey stuff. I think that it works for some things. I love The Fiend. The Fiend is one of my favorite characters in WWE that we've seen for years. So it's not necessarily the magic and stuff like that. It's just how it's presented. And I loved the Alexa Bliss character when she was backed with The Fiend. When she was the sidekick of The Fiend, I feel like it worked really, really well. But from what I am seeing, what I'm looking at on my TV is I watch WrestleMania and I see, well, we go back even before. We go back from even before, right? We have, God, what was that pay-per-view where The Fiend got burned alive? So we have this Firefly Funhouse Inferno match, right? Should be a match that is a specialty for Bray Wyatt, The Fiend. He gets burned alive by Randy Orton. Burned alive. This man is dead, okay? Randy Orton then proceeds to feud with Alexa Bliss, and this whole time for like 3 months, right? I swear it was like 3 months, where Alexa Bliss was feuding with Randy Orton, trying to avenge The Fiend getting burnt to a crisp. Then all of a sudden, we have this match with The Fiend and Randy Orton at WrestleMania. The Fiend comes back. We see him in his burnt to a crisp form, and then he magically returns back to The Fiend. Everything's cool. I'm buying it. Whatever. So they do this cool, like, pop out of the Jack in the Box thing. The Fiend comes back. Alexa Bliss distracts The Fiend. Randy Orton RKOs him and beats him. Just one RKO. So Alexa Bliss has turned on The Fiend despite sitting there for 3 months trying to avenge him being burnt to a crisp. Even saying that she wanted Randy to burn her to a crisp as well. And then, ever since then, Bray Wyatt has been nowhere to be seen. Off TV completely. And I don't think any of those rumors about, I don't want to repeat them, but those rumors, I don't believe they were true. I had heard that Bray Wyatt was backstage at Raw for weeks after WrestleMania and wanted to be on TV, but was not. And now, Alexa Bliss says, oh, I found something more evil or something. Oh, and actually, you know what? There was a Firefly Funhouse afterwards. There was an episode of Firefly Funhouse, and there was a Alexa's Playground episode where she was like, I found something more dark and blah, 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 blah. And it's a fucking Uncrustable sandwich, okay? A peanut butter and jelly sandwich from the frozen aisle of your store for $2. That's what is the most evil thing in the world. And Bray Wyatt's like, oh, I've been betrayed or something. And then he's just gone. He's gone. So they completely ripped off the Fiend gimmick, the Firefly Funhouse stuff. They gave it to Alexa Bliss. And they're just running with it. They just completely gave his stuff to her and took him off TV. Man, I hate it. I hate it. Van says, you're comparing Shayna Baszler's career to a sandwich. Reminds me of Loki comparing Asgard to a salad. Oh, that was great. when Owen Wilson, he was just trying to sit there and eat his salad, and he's like, oh, but here's me throwing the Hulk off of the bridge, and he's just like pouring a bunch of salt into it. And then there was something else where he's like pouring that guy's juice into it or whatever. That show's great. I've really enjoyed Loki so far. Really enjoyed it. She's not hypnotizing people, she's possessing them. Same thing. Like, it's not for me. It's not for me. It was believable when the Fiend was there, but like even the Fiend didn't possess people. He was just a weird demon murder clown. Like, he didn't do weird things. He just popped up from behind people. She's like setting off fire. She is possessing people, if that's what you want to call it. Like, I'm not with it. I'm not with it. WWE Emoji says, I hope they bring back Alexa and Bray together, but it's less likely to happen. I don't want to see them together at this point. I don't know. I want it to end. I want to see Bray Wyatt back on TV. The guy is too creative, and they just need to roll with it. I think the Fiend could have been the new era of the Undertaker. Like, the Fiend could have been a legendary character that could be timeless. I do think so. And I think that the mistake that happened was WWE saw how popular Bray Wyatt and the Fiend was at the time of debuting. And I know that I had heard that his merch sales were through the fucking roof. Like, he was selling so much, and they kept coming out with new shirts and like stickers and lunch pail things. And they were just like selling out, and like, what was it? Like $10,000 replica championship belts were selling. Masks were selling. The lantern of Bray's head was selling like crazy. And they're like, hey, this guy's selling. This guy's over. We should make him Universal Champion. And then, you know, they got to that point where they're like, oh, you know what? Well, we need to make the Universal Champion be gold. And then it was just a downhill spiral from there. And then, you know, there was that rebirth, or what I had thought was a rebirth, when Bray had that Firefly Funhouse cinematic match with Braun. It wasn't really necessarily a match. It was more so like a story, kind of. It was more like a movie. It really seemed like a rebirth of the Fiend when he threw Braun Strowman into the water and then came out, and like it turned red and he came out the Fiend. Like, I was like, yes, here we go. They're ready to right all of the wrongs that we have with this whole gold shit and like all this Saudi Arabia stuff. We're ready to go. And then he won the championship back, which they should never have done again. And then he lost it to Roman Reigns or whatever. And it's like, dude, it's over. It is over. And then he got burned alive and lost his feud against Randy Orton. I just don't understand. I don't understand. And he says Bray should just straight up squash his next opponent to gain some sort of credibility. I don't know how they're going to bring the Fiend back. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. Trevin says, what if they did Husky Harris, Firefly Funhouse, Eater of Worlds, and the Fiend are all characters of Bray Wyatt like Mick Foley? I don't want to see that, really. I mean, maybe they could give it a try, but I don't know. I don't have faith. That's one of the things that I've given up on for WWE. A lot of people have their hopes set that when fans come back, the WWE will get watchable and be good again. That's cool. I'm not counting on it. I'm not waiting for it. If it happens, it happens. I'll be happy. I've said this countless times. Like, nothing would make me happier to watch Monday Night Raw on Monday and enjoy it for 3 hours. And same with SmackDown on Friday. Like, I would love to see that. I would love to watch Raw on Monday, NXT on Tuesday, Dynamite on Wednesday, probably have the day off on Thursday, and then watch SmackDown on Friday and enjoy them all. I would love that. That would make me so happy, but that's just not the case. Chloe says the Fiend is supposed to be dominant, but he got kicked between the legs by Roman Reigns to lose. Right in the little Fiends, man. Right in the little Fiends. James says, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's an egg salad sandwich, and it's rotten. Oh, the horror, the humanity. Yes. The uncrustable, man. The uncrustable. Ashton says, like a Jason Voorhees kind of way. Yes. 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 That's what I was saying. Yes. Sava said the Fiend should have never been a magical character. He should have been a mentally deranged person. Yes. I don't mind the magic stuff. I don't mind it when it's done tastefully because it works, right? Like the whole thing where they moved the Universal Championship to SmackDown and Bray was the champ, so he just magically turned it blue. Like, I like stuff like that. I think it's fine, but like, I don't want to see him possessing people or anything like that. But yeah, the whole idea, I had actually during that time, I can't remember when it was, but like I said multiple times, I binge watched things at night, and I had never seen all of the Jason movies. So they were on Amazon Prime. I had to get like oh damn, what was that? An AMC like horror pass thing added to it. So I watched all of the Friday the 13th movies, all of the like classic ones, you know, all the way to Jason X. And I was like, man, the Fiend would be a really cool Jason-esque character where he's very strong, he's very powerful. And I think I said this on the post show where he got burned alive, I believe, where it was like, he's so dominant, right? The whole entire, and he needs to be dominant for a really long time, because think of a Jason movie, Friday the 13th, where Jason's dominant for almost 2 hours, right? But they finally get the best of him at the end and they kill him. But guess what? He's not dead. And then he comes back for Friday the 13th too. And then he starts all over. He's dominant again. So I was like, man, that's really cool. That it would have been really cool had they have Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, be so dominant for so long. And then he has this match with Randy Orton, and Randy Orton burns him alive. And that's the end of the Fiend. He's dead, right? He's gone. Someone has finally conquered him. It's finally over. The terror is over. He's gone for a little bit. And then his appearance changes a little bit. Maybe have like a more so his mask seems like based on Death of the Family from the DC comics. But if they would have like melted it a little bit, I think, like had some of it droop down, or maybe even just kind of made some of it black like it had been burned or something, I think that would have been a really cool like V2 version of the Fiend. And there you go. You have the Fiend back, right? He's on this dominant reign. And then maybe you even have like Randy try to stop him again in this Firefly Funhouse Inferno match, or they're trying to set him on fire, whatever it is, but he can't be killed the same way twice. You do something like that, right? So he can't be burned alive. He's impervious to that. He's untouchable. I think that would be so cool. So then you have these different eras of the Fiend, these different sort of character moments, and you slightly change him just a little bit every single time, you know? And they screwed the pooch, man. They didn't make it happen at all. Chloe says, AOW, did the rumor that Shayna once eliminated everyone in the Elimination Chamber? Yeah, no one believes it. No one believes it. It's just a myth these days. No days off, Impact on Thursdays. Oh God, man. That's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. But like I said, if I do the Patreon thing, I actually don't mind watching the shows every day, because the shows being on at 5 is a real bitch for me. Like, it's a real pain in the ass. My fiance gets home from work at 3, so we really only have like 2 hours to spend together, because she doesn't want to watch it, and then I make dinner every day as well, so it's just a real pain to like do things at 5. So if I could just watch them when I'm done spending time with my fiance, and then just do them at night when I could scrub through them, like I wouldn't mind covering shows every single day, but it would just have to be worth it too. But I don't know. I've always wanted to have my work be free. I've never wanted to have a paywall in front of things. I've always just wanted it to be like, hey, if you want to donate, you can, but like it's not necessary. So I don't know. I'm still kind of tossing and turning between that, but I think it would be a cool idea. I still think it'd be a cool idea. Ashton says, I gave up when I saw someone decapitate someone's head off, and I'm like, I'm out. Don't make fun of me, but I can't watch horror movies. I'm a scaredy cat. All good, my friend. All good. I actually don't feel like scary movies are scary. Like in today's world, like the last scary movie we went and saw was The Nun, and that movie just scared the hell out of me because it was so loud. Like, it wasn't scary. It was just really quiet, and then they just bam hit you with this super loud noise, and it was just like, oh, it scared the shit out of me. Anthony says, what WWE is doing with Bliss, she has not lost in a long time. Yeah, I'm just not into the weird possession stuff. It just doesn't click with me. Don't forget American Badass Biker Fiend. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Fiend is advertised for the first Raw with fans. It'll be interesting to see how that goes, how they bring him back. You laugh at most horror movies. Some of them are really bad. Some horror movies are really bad, man. I've seen a lot of them. There was one movie, I can't remember. It looked scary as hell on the preview, and we went and saw it, and I think it was called Mama or something like that. It was terrible. It was terrible. You loved it though. I liked it. I thought that was great. Van says they should do this in horror movies whenever Annabelle appears. Kick her in the balls. Yeah, right? Right in her little Annabelles. Be done with it. Have I seen Army of the Dead? Yes, I believe so. Been a minute since I caught a post show. What's up? How's it going, LJ? How you doing, my friend? We're kind of on the end of the Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler stuff. But so long story short, in this match, Alexa Bliss ends up possessing Shayna Baszler to get out of a submission move. Then she somewhat possesses Reginald for a moment, and then she locks eyes with Nia Jax. Sorry, Big. Was on the outside of the ring, and they're locked. They're both just standing there. Alexa Bliss does the same thing that kind of like she did with Reginald. She slowly was raising her one of her hands, her left hand, I believe, and Nia Jax was doing the same thing. She lifted it up. Reginald was trying to get her out of this trance, out of this whatever possession that she had over Big, and then she just had him slap him right in the head, right in the face, and that was the end of that. Then after that, Alexa Bliss hit a modified Sister Abigail. Someone said it was a Dream DDT, and actually they're kind of right. I think that's the Dream DDT that Velveteen Dream used to do. So it's like to me it was a modified Sister Abigail into her DDT. That's just kind of what I go with it, since she stole Bray Wyatt's whole gig, so might as well steal Sister Abigail as well, right? And then she hit a Twisted Bliss on Shayna Baszler and got the win, and that was the end of that. LJ says, possession, you say? You're joking. No, my friend, I am not. Alexa Bliss has been possessing people these days. Shayna Baszler, Reginald, and Big, to be exact. So I don't know what this is. I'm assuming that we'll probably see Bliss and Big, or you guys will, because I'm not watching that. You're so glad you made a possessed Alexa emoji. Yeah, your work was good. I'm pretty sure I messaged you back. Your work was good. Clayton, fellow disciple, how you doing, my friend? Some woos for Clayton. Thank you for your support, my friend. Clayton says the show wasn't bad, but it wasn't good as well. Just feel it was a throwaway pay-per-view. Yep, I agree, man. I agree. Really, really just felt like filler. It did. Chloe says Alexa Bliss is 6-0 this year. That's good. That's good. It still doesn't connect with me, the stuff with her. I don't like it. Trevin says someone just needs to throw water on Alexa so she can go back to her old gimmick. Yeah, I wonder if the Fiend comes back, if he's going to feud with her, or if they're going to be back together, or what's going to happen with that, because she betrayed him and he lost the match and they never really did anything from it. So I don't know. LJ says maybe she inherited the Fiend's power to change people. Then Shayna can go back to her killer NXT days. That would be great. And I liked how they used the Fiend for that for a while, to change people from faces to heels. And that's why I was saying that the hokey stuff like this, it can work when used correctly. But I don't think Alexa summoning fire and sorts of things like that and possessing dominant people like Shayna Baszler, I don't think that works at all. Not in the slightest. Chloe says, in the words of Bray Wyatt, witches be wildin'. Yeah. Or Shayna can be Alexa's muscle. Yeah, I mean, I could see them do some sort of possession thing like that, but I don't think it would work, because a lot of people are mad about this stuff. A lot of people do not like this stuff with Alexa Bliss. So I've taking it to that next level and having her have a permanent possession over Shayna Baszler. I don't think that would sit well for most people. Vance says, remember when you said that you were totally invested in the Fiend and Alexa storyline, and now they have unlimited possibilities, and still Vince managed to come up with the worst one? Yeah. It sucks. And that's the cool thing about having people like this on your roster, is that you have the ability to do cool, interesting, and unique things. Like, literally, the sky is the limit. Whatever you can come up with, the Fiend and Alexa Bliss can do. So, like, just use your imagination, have fun with it. And I think in this instance, the stuff that's not super serious works best. And maybe that's why the Fiend actually works, because you have the Fiend like only in the ring, but then you have Bray Wyatt, right? Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt, to be exact, who's in this silly kids show gimmick where he's having fun and he's talking to puppets, and Abby is just cursing and saying all sorts of stuff, and it's fun. It's not so serious, and it doesn't take away from anything. But Alexa Bliss is just bam, just pure serious. There's nothing funny about it. There's no joking. There's nothing. So maybe that's why it doesn't necessarily work. Ashton says it changed Rollins to the Messiah. It changed the Miz back to a heel. Yeah, like, it's fun. Like, you should be able to use stuff like that. It's really good. And like, Aleister Black had that really cool like Kill Bill hit list kind of thing where he was like, I'm going to go after Rollins for doing this, and then Murphy for this, and then Bray Wyatt for this, and then Vince McMahon for this. Like, it was so cool. It was so cool. Clayton says, I feel Abyss should help produce Bliss and the Fiend. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does. He does work with them. WWE Emoji says, it's not very hard to be very imaginative or creative about storylines and superstars. It doesn't have to be last minute. Just elaborate and make it awesome. So let me read a couple comments and then I'll go into that. Asher says, Rambling Rabbit always getting killed. Yeah, it was great. Vance says, speaking of Abby, have you played The Last of Us 2? I have not played it, but I have watched a full playthrough of The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2. Leroy says, remember back in 2017 when Alexa Bliss the most dominant Raw Women's Champion? I do. Okay, so I want to touch on this thing that WWE Emoji says. So to read the comment again, it's not very hard to be very imaginative or creative about storylines and superstars. It doesn't have to be last minute, just elaborate and make it awesome. So to touch on this, the guy that runs MLW supposedly used to work on the creative team for WWE. He recently did an interview, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. It's not something that I wrote down or I had intended to talk about, but that comment just kind of reminded me of it. So, and I thought it was interesting. So he said that WWE creative was very difficult, and that essentially they were writing for an audience of one being Vince McMahon. So he said that if creative he said it was very confusing because these people would pitch things and they would pitch things and they would be amazing, and then they would have some crazy story for someone to do, and someone would come back and be like, hey, you can't do this with this person. Like, you can't push this person. And they're like, why? And they never told him. And he said they just speculate that is either a contract thing, a money thing, or like, I don't know, Vince just wasn't behind him. So essentially they're pitching stories only to Vince McMahon. And if Vince liked them, then other people would look at them as well and then continue to build on them. And he said by the time they would create a story, it'd go to Vince, it would go to the other people, and then it would come back and then go to production. He said it would be completely unrecognizable. It would just be completely different from what they had originally written, and they wouldn't even recognize it. So it seems like their process is just too like filtered with bullshit. It shouldn't have to be that way. It should be an entire $1 billion company, and all of these shows should absolutely not be controlled by one single person. Because we've talked about this a couple of times. Yes, Vince certainly did help get us to where we are today in the world of professional wrestling, and the Attitude Era will forever go down as probably one of the best eras in wrestling history, no doubt. But that does not mean that he knows what's best for his audience. So if his audience is thinking that one thing is great and he's like, no, that's why we are where we are today. In the ground with terrible writing. You need to open it up to what other people like. If I have a clothing store and I don't like black t-shirts, well, if I don't sell black t-shirts, I'm probably going to have a hard time because a lot of people wear black t-shirts. So you either have to get to that point where you're just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm the one that's right, and you're going to listen to me, and if not, then like I'm fine with being where I am, or you'll just accept me for what I am, and then it'll be fine. Or I have to cave and I have to sell black t-shirts because people are like, hey, these designs are dope, I would buy them, but you don't have black. So you're in these positions. They need to listen to other people because their ratings are dropping, people are tuning out, people are being overly critical. Even Forbes, I'm pretty sure it was Forbes, wrote a piece about WWE, about WrestleMania Backlash, about the zombie lumberjack match, saying that it was an all-time low for the company. It is one of the worst things that they've ever seen. That is on Forbes. Forbes. The same, like, what, a month later? Less than a month later? Forbes wrote an article about Tony Khan being the next King of the Ring. Lord of the Ring. So Forbes is writing an article saying that WWE is trash, and Forbes is then writing an article saying that AEW is the next big thing. That's not good, man. You got to start pleasing the crowd. It's not good. Was it by PewDiePie? No, I actually watched the H2O Delirious playthroughs of The Last of Us 1 and 2. 2 was a little crazy. I see people's complaints about it, but at the end of the day, I liked both of them overall. I think it's the craziest shit I've ever seen. Like, I mean, God, I watched like 40 hours of gameplay for that game. Like, it's just crazy. It was good though. I liked it. I'm very interested in seeing what they're able to do with the movie. Because I don't know. It was so powerful. Especially the first one, man. That game was insane. For a game, too, insane. James says they could have used Alexa's The Fury theme song, but instead they went with the distorted Firefly Funhouse. I liked the older one that they had. It was like a demonic mix of her Alexa Bliss, like goddess theme and stuff. Van says this reminds me of CM Punk saying John Laurinaitis would say everything Vince wants to hear. Yeah, you can't pander to an audience of one. You just can't. Not when your audience is legit over 2 million people. Like, the company is too big for one person to decide things. And I think we had this discussion, or I said something about it when Triple H was on that NXT media call, and he said, if you don't like it, don't watch it. That works. You can say that. If you're making record high, you can be like, look, obviously what we're doing is we're killing it. We're knocking it out of the park. So I don't care what you nerds have to say. Like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. That works completely fine. That works. But when you're not, and NXT just moved to Tuesdays because they lost the Wednesday Night War, had nothing to do with NASCAR. NASCAR's not even on that network. They're ending up being on the same network that AEW was on. So that's not even a legit excuse. So Monday Night Raw is doing terrible. SmackDown has dipped below 2 million. And NXT just lost the ratings war to Dynamite, to AEW, the competition. You can't tell people if you don't like it, don't watch it. Because that's what they're doing. They're not liking it and they're not watching it. You should be thankful for the people. NHL, not NASCAR. Oh, my apologies. Yeah, NHL is what I meant to say. I meant to say NHL. Not sure why I said NASCAR. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's what people are doing. They're not tuning in. You can't act that way. You can't act like that way. Delight says Watch Raw is going to dip below 1 million when Monday Night Football comes back. And I hate the argument of that too, where it's like, oh, well, football's on. Bro, football has been on for the past 30 years. This isn't something new that WWE's been competing with. They've been competing with it their entire career. The NBA playoffs isn't something that just popped up this year or last year. They've been competing with this forever. It's nothing new. Ashley says, I wonder if CM Punk is running Forbes. Maybe. Or maybe that person just doesn't like WWE. Because I think anyone can write for Forbes. I'm not sure if they're from the same person or not either. Ashley says, speaking of, I didn't even watch Hell in a Cell. I watched the hockey game instead. Fair enough. There you go. And you know what? This is something that I missed. Someone told me this in a post show or in one of the comments. about Nick Khan, the guy he's the big powerful guy that's been working for WWE for a while now and kind of changing things. He said that he admitted defeat from AEW, and I went to go look, and I found the media call that I somehow missed, and this man's said that they are competing with everything, which I can agree to a certain degree, right? He said that NXT is competing against people sitting in their houses and text messaging each other. Are you kidding me? Your TV show is not competing with kids sitting around and texting each other. Have you lost your mind? Oh, God. Good Lord, man. WWE says, I don't wish death on anyone, especially Vince, but I think it's time for Stephanie or Triple H to run the company. Someone else needs to take over, or there needs to be a better process. And I think there just needs to be a better process. That's all. I don't think there should be so many hoops for you to jump through for creative. Creative should be creative, and creative should be allowed to do what they were hired to do, and that is be creative. If the rumors are true that Vince is just ripping up scripts and rewriting them, there's no reason for him to pay the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he probably does for a creative team when he can just write the show 5 minutes before they go on the air. Texting each other? Yeah, that's apparently competition. Vance says, fun fact, Jericho said that Vince started scripted promos so that he could beat friends on Thursdays. Yeah, fucking right. I'm gonna have to look up what the Friends ratings were. Well, how many people watched Friends every week? Dude, it's gotta be like insane. The Friends okay, we take into account, okay, so this is 2004. Hold on. We'll do Monday Night Raw 2004 rating. Okay, Monday Night Raw on April 2nd, 2002 had a 4.5 rating. Is that 4.5 million? Oh my God. This is on the WWE website. WWE Monday Night Raw scores the huge jump in ratings. Monday Night Raw's ratings was the highest since Raw earned a 4.5 rating on March 22nd. The overall household delivery was the largest since more than 4 million homes tuned in. Okay. 2004. 4 million people watched Raw. 52 million people watched the finale of Friends. 42 million. Oh my God. What is their weekly? I would love to know how many people watch Friends on the week. Friends was bigger than The Office. This is streaming numbers, I think. I don't know. All I have is that they had 52 million people watch the finale. That is fucking insane. That is insane. And Friends is my favorite show of all time, by the way. I don't know if anyone knows that. Friends is my all-time favorite show. I have all of the DVDs for Friends. I've watched the series a million times. It is my favorite show ever. Ashton says the Friends reunion was amazing. It was so good, man. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. You're watching Friends right now. It's my favorite show. Favorite show. Okay, we kind of got to get through this because we're over 2 hours here. Vance says they said on the reunion that the show was being replayed over 1 billion times. Dude, it's crazy how popular that show is. I'm gonna have to go through and rewatch it sometime again. I cannot get enough of that show. I love it so much. Okay. You never understood the hype about The Office. It's stupid. I wasn't a huge fan of The Office. But we did actually sit through my fiance. It was a show that I had never really I'd caught episodes, but I never really watched it. And me and my fiance binge watched it a couple years ago. It was good. I liked it, but Friends is still my favorite show of all time. Like, it always will be too, I think. Always will be. Phil Fickle says, I worry if friends would do good in today's time. I don't know. Probably, I don't think any show would be able to do what they were able to do back then, but Chandler's the best. I think everyone is the best. I don't think that show works if one of those people is not casted as one of those people. I don't think. Okay, so let's hurry up and let's get through the rest of this. We're already over 2 hours here. So the next matchup was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This match was made on Friday Night SmackDown, like less than 48 hours away from this event. And I think this is just a typical case of WWE not really having a match card, because as of like before that, there was like 4 matches announced for this entire show. That was it. So they added, what did they add? They added this match and Seth Rollins and Cesaro on Friday. And then today before, they added the Natalya versus Mandy Rose match. So they added 1 match within 45 minutes and 2 before on the go home episode, which is crazy. But I feel like this was the whole, like, we don't have anything planned, so like we'll just put in Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn because they're the GOATs, and people will never complain about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn having a match because they're just the best and they can just feud forever. Like, the WWE could literally probably put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on TV every single week for the rest of their careers, and people probably would be like, you know, we've seen this match like 200 times now, but it's still very good. I don't think people will get mad at this match. So that's why I feel like this one was on here at some point. I think it was Friday afternoon. The plan was to have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a Hell in a Cell match, but that ended up getting changed to just a regular match. And Sami Zayn actually got the win here. Sami Zayn actually picked up the win over Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was really selling the attack from Commander Aziz, I believe is what they're calling him these days. He had that, oh man, they call it the Nigerian nail. Is that what they call it? That Samoan spike, the like thumb punch to the throat. So from what I recall from the things that I've seen about SmackDown is that Aziz punched Kevin Owens with this Nigerian nail. It's a punch with your thumb out, and they get you right in the throat with the thumb. So he had a really hard time breathing. He was struggling. And even during this match, he pretty much like sold that strike from Aziz this entire time. He had a very hard time breathing, and that's probably ultimately what ended up having him, like, costing him the match. So Sami Zayn got the win over this. I'm sure that this isn't over. I'm sure this is going to continue on SmackDown as well. Nigerian, yeah. Okay, perfect. Those guys couldn't have a bad match if they tried. Yeah, they certainly could not. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn could literally fight forever, and people wouldn't care. So that's why I think that one got here, and I'm not mad about it. It's fine, because like I said, who cares? Because they're great, but I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Next up was the match that probably no one wanted to see. Rhea Ripley defending her Raw Women's Championship against Charlotte. Read your last comment. I don't know if you know it, but many fans and even former and current WWE superstars say that Vince isn't the genius he used to be back in the 90s, though I will say he got the arrogance, though. Yeah, I agree. And I think that saying Vince's time is up isn't being disrespectful. I don't think that it has anything to do with what he's done in the past. Like, I'm very thankful for Vince McMahon and everything that he has done in professional wrestling, and especially the Attitude Era. When I grew up, like, I watched that shit every single week, like, religiously. There was not when I was a kid, there was not a week where I missed Raw. There was not a week where I missed SmackDown. And that was the era where, like, if you missed it, you were shit out of luck. Like, there wasn't anything. They didn't have replays of Raw. They didn't have DVR. So if you were going to miss it, you had to put a VHS in and record it and watch it. So, like, I watch that stuff all the time. And one of my greatest feuds of all time is probably Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. So, like, we owe him everything. But saying that his time is up doesn't take away from any of that. It's just, it's time to hang it up, man. Times have changed. People have changed. We don't find the same things funny that we do. And back then, like I've gone back and watched a lot of Attitude Era stuff. It's not that great. Of course, there are like, I think the difference from today and the Attitude Era is you don't have Stone Cold Steve Austin, you don't have The Rock, you don't have The Undertaker, you don't have Shawn Michaels, like you don't have Mick Foley, Mankind, you don't have Kane, you don't have any of those people. Like DX, super over. And even back then when I'm watching, even like the mid card people, like Steve Blackman, The Godfather, Bob Holly, Hardcore Holly, whatever you want to call him, Crash Holly, like all these people were stupid over. Tag teams, there was plenty of them. The New Age Outlaws, like the Acolytes, like there was just everyone was over back in the day. And it didn't necessarily mean that like the matches were great. Everyone was just a huge character and everyone was popular. Whereas today, like, you don't really have those characters. You don't really have that. No one is really over in today's world except Roman Reigns. So you just don't. There's a huge disconnect between the two. But there's a lot of hokey shit that happened back on Monday Night Raw back in the day. Raw is war, I guess. Anthony says, can someone put Charlotte a match where she loses? Right? Please. Anthony says, no beef to Vince, but since he's old, he's not getting creative. Yeah. Everyone had a place in the Attitude Era. Yeah, there was a lot of stars. There were a lot of stars. And like, think of today where a lot of people, I mean, this is up to your own interpretation, but I don't think SmackDown's a good show, which is obviously why I stopped watching it. But there's so many people that tell me SmackDown is great because of Roman Reigns. Could you imagine if you had 3 more Roman Reigns on SmackDown? They could book the worst shit in the world, and that show would be legendary because you would have all that star power on that show. That's it. That's all you need. And they don't have any of that. Chloe says there were only 4 wrestlers that mattered in the Attitude Era, and that wrestler was Mick Foley. Right? That's funny. James says the only women that should dethrone Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship is Becky Lynch. Man, I could see that happening. I don't know, though. I guess we'll see. So, yeah, this match. No one wanted to see this match, man. Rhea Ripley defending her Raw Women's Championship against Charlotte. They beat the absolute hell out of each other in this match. And this match ended in a disqualification because Rhea Ripley used that top part of the announce table that they usually throw off before they put someone through it. She flipped that up and hit Charlotte in the head with it. And that caused for a disqualification. That makes absolutely no sense to me. I feel like WWE is really bending a little bit of rules on this one. Like, and I don't know. It may be that she picked it up and used it which is why it qualified as a disqualification, because you can throw your opponent into the steel steps and that's fine. But if you pick up the steel steps and use them, that's not fine, which also doesn't necessarily make sense because in theory, it's the same thing, right? And to my knowledge, from what I recall, is that you can throw that little piece of the table off of the ground and you could put them through the table, and that's not even a disqualification, if I remember correctly. I don't get, this was dumb as hell. This was dumb. I think that Monday Night Raw creative has killed Rhea Ripley. She was on life support when Charlotte Flair won the NXT championship from her. And now, yes, she is the Raw Women's Champion. But that belt does not mean jack shit. It has 0 prestige. And they were talking about the prestige of the Raw Women's Championship and that maybe Rhea Ripley doesn't have what it takes for the prestige. There is 0 prestige for the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka held that belt for a year and didn't do shit. Nothing with it. There is no prestige for like hardly any WWE champions, except, I would make an argument that the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship might have some prestige these days. But the rest of them, nothing whatsoever. So Rhea Ripley has just been killed and driven into the ground on the Raw roster. And I don't know, maybe WWE isn't going to get better when they just trickle in these changes of things. Maybe they just need a huge blast of change. So like, no, maybe Rhea Ripley won't help change the Raw women's division, but maybe if they like inject 4 new people into the division, maybe it could help. Maybe if they bring 5 or 6 people from NXT or the Performance Center or whatever, maybe that will help. But it seems like one person isn't going to do the trick. It hasn't worked for Rhea Ripley. It hasn't really worked for Bianca Belair. Like, SmackDown booking is just better, but I don't think Bianca Belair was booked very well in the beginning either. Damian Priest, guy hasn't even been seen in 5 weeks. So it's not working when it's just these individual people. And this disqualification, man, this means that this match is probably just going to happen again on Raw tomorrow. So if you watch Monday Night Raw, have fun with that one. God, I hope that Charlotte does not win that title. Leroy says there was prestige in the Raw Women's Championship when Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch held it. Yeah, when Becky had it, yes. Yes. But now, no. Vance says, did you miss the Charlotte kicks in the air? I saw that she was kicking in the air. She wasn't kicking anyone. And you know what? Charlotte, she's dating Andrade, so I know that that's why she's got these things. But Andrade butchering Andrade's moves every single week is not something that I want to see. That fake kick to the elbow, one of my favorite moves. And she's been doing it. And she's been doing it very bad. You can have the moonsault where you land on your feet and then you do another one off the ground. You can have it, whatever. I don't care. But the kick to the elbow, can you at least master that and get it down before doing it on TV? Because I've seen like 3 or 4 gifs of them now, and they're not good. They don't flow. Andrade does it, chef's kiss, so perfect, so fluid. You know what he's doing. You know that the kick is a fake, and then bam, the elbow. One of my favorite moves. So like, can you not, please, Charlotte? Thank you. All right, so now we get to our main event match of the night. That is right. Bobby Lashley defending his WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre inside a Hell in a Cell match. The big questions. If Drew McIntyre loses this match, he will no longer be able to challenge for the WWE Championship while Lashley is holding it. That leads people to believe, hey, is Drew McIntyre going to win the WWE Championship? Is that why they moved Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio to Friday Night SmackDown? So that Drew could get the win in the main event? Another question. Is Brock Lesnar returning? Is that why they moved that match to Friday and put this in the main event? No, to either one of those. Brock Lesnar did not return, and Drew McIntyre did not win the WWE Championship. And unfortunately, more than anything, this match was awesome, and it had the worst finish ever. One of the worst. Only topped by The Fiend and Seth Rollins. This Hell in a Cell finish was terrible. And there was a point where, okay, and this sucks because I thought this match was great. This match was great. Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre beat the absolute hell out of each other. Like, someone said that Drew posted a picture of his back. Maybe I'll post it or something, but man, he had bruises and like blood all over him from those kendo sticks and stuff. They beat the absolute hell out of each other. This match was great. Then something that happened was Drew McIntyre was coming towards Bobby Lashley with a chair. Lashley poked Drew McIntyre in the eyes to kind of blind him for a little bit. He went to go swing at Lashley and missed, and he turned completely around, and Lashley pushed him, and McIntyre had the chair in his hand, and he collided with the ref, so they hit the ref in the head with the chair. So ref down, out, rolls out into the little section between the ring and the Hell in a Cell structure. Drew connects with, I don't know, what was it? A Future Shock DDT or a Claymore, whatever, and goes for the pin and realizes the ref can't pin. He's out, right? So he goes over to the door, tells the other referee that he needs to get in. So the ref undoes the door, opens the door, and comes in. Drew McIntyre is about to get that 3 count, and the ref gets pulled out because MVP made his way into the ring. Drew McIntyre gets completely distracted by MVP being in the ring, and at some point, the door gets locked again. So, like, MVP is actually stuck in the Hell in a Cell. Drew beats the hell out of MVP, completely ignores Bobby Lashley, and Drew is going. He's setting up for the Claymore kick, and MVP grabs his leg, distracts Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre turns around to confront MVP. Bobby Lashley rolls him up and gets the win. A distraction roll-up finish in a Hell in a Cell match. Is this a first in history? To have a distraction roll-up finish in a Hell in a Cell? Delight says the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. The surprise roll-up. Anthony says you need a Gordon Ramsay chef kiss on the soundboard. I do. I need Gordon Ramsay on my soundboard. I watched I went through and watched all of Hell's Kitchen as well. I love that show. It's so good. Atharva says match was great. I watched 2018, 2019 ending, so I'm happy. Right? Right? Van says Lashley versus McIntyre brain is officially dead. Yeah, like, come on, man. A distraction roll-up finish. WWE Emoji says, I don't want to be rude, but creative is somewhat misogynistic towards their women's division. The women's division is not a women's division. We're in the Divas division. Let's be clear about that. The women's evolution is dead and gone, and we have reverted back to the Divas division. It's unbearable. It is so bad. It is so bad. Ashton says this pay-per-view is Raw. Yeah, this was a hashtag must be Sunday moment. Hell in a Cell match with a distraction roll-up finish. Like, to me, that takes away everything that they did in the ring. It was all for nothing. Why have this, like, epic battle all for it to end in a distraction roll-up? Like, this makes Drew McIntyre look so stupid. A distraction in a Hell in a Cell. A distraction roll-up finish in a Hell in a Cell, man. Like, unfucking believable. Unbelievable. Like, how could you... How? I mean, I guess it's better than stopping the Seth Rollins and the Fiend match, but damn, dude, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Chloe says they ran out of first evers for the women, so now they're back to 2-minute matches with no commercial breaks. Yep. That's the SmackDown women's division for you. 2.5-minute matches. Brutal. Jan says, you still on? Yes, sir. We're about to hop off, though. About to hop off. Van says, hey, did you know if COVID didn't happen, we were about to get Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa in a Hell in a Cell match? I did not know that. That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy. Jan says, but at least Drew didn't look weak by getting pinned clean. He lost by a roll-up. So, yeah, I mean, he doesn't look weak, but he looks stupid. He looks stupid by getting distracted and then getting rolled up. So you want him to lose? Yes. Yes, I do want him to lose. That's what happens in this sport. There's wins and losses, right? I talked about this. Okay? I talked about this at the beginning of the show and multiple times. There's nothing wrong with taking an L. There's not. Him and Bobby Lashley beating the hell out of each other for 20, 25 minutes, whatever. Is there a time up on this? Let me see. Go to Cage Match and see if this is up yet. Hell in a Cell. Yes, it is. Is the timers up? Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre went 25 minutes and 49 seconds inside of a Hell in a Cell. Drew McIntyre does not look weak by losing clean to Bobby Lashley in a 26-minute match. A Hell in a Cell match, by the way. That's a battle. That's a win for lasting 26 minutes. That does not make Drew McIntyre look weak. What makes Drew McIntyre look weak is falling for something that you would do in your first wrestling match. Okay, and I get this, right? I get that this is sports entertainment. I get that this is scripted and we're supposed to be like telling stories and stuff, right? But tell me this. In real life, in the real world, and we'll, instead of using wrestling, we'll say boxing. We'll say boxing, right? You are in the ring boxing someone, right? And someone yells to you, "Hey, you're an idiot," during the match. Are you going to put your fist down? Are you going to walk over to him and be like, "Hey, what are you talking about? I don't look stupid." And like your opponent's just going to clock you right upside the head and knock you out? Or are you going to be like, you're going to ignore him, right? You're going to keep your hands up. You're boxing someone, for the love of God. You're in a physical match. You're not just going to put your dukes down and like try to figure out what some dude is talking about on the side. You're not going to. So like when I see stuff like this happen all the time in wrestling, it's so frustrating. When you have someone like Drew McIntyre, who is a former WWE champion, right? He's beating Bobby Lashley's ass, and then someone's music starts playing, and he just catches amnesia, and he's like, "Where am I?" And he just turns around and looks at a Titantron and waits for someone to walk down a ramp or run down a ramp. Bro, you're in a match, and someone is trying to kick your ass, okay? And you're just going to ignore that because some music played or someone shouted something at you? That's the way I look at it. And that's why I feel like it makes people look dumb as hell. You're in a physical match. I'm not looking away from my opponent. Sure, maybe if you're in the ring and you feel someone slide into it, right? Because in theory, you would feel someone get into the ring, I would hope, or you would hear someone get into the ring, then maybe you turn your attention away. But if someone plays their music and stands on the stage, why are you like dumbfounded and you're like, "Boo," and you're just standing there and then you get rolled up? It's so dumb. It's so like, I don't know, it's so amateurish. It makes those people look stupid. I would way rather to have a dominant champion and have Bobby Lashley beat Drew McIntyre. It makes Drew look good that he survived 26 minutes and put on one hell of a match. That's what this is all about, wrestling. And then you have a dominant WWE champion who's looking for new challengers. Not like a, haha, I had to get one up on you because I couldn't do it myself. Like, we don't need that all the time. So that's where my head is when I see distractions and when I see roll-ups. A real player is not going to take their head out of the game. They're going to keep going. They're going to focus. They're going to do what they need to do. And then that's it. Then maybe they take care of that guy in the front row that says you look stupid. I'm going to knock out my opponent. Then I'm going to come beat your ass too. Right? That's just what I just don't get it. I don't get it. Ian says, "What do you expect from tomorrow's Raw? Maybe we get new storylines and qualifying matches for Money in the Bank?" Probably not, man. You're probably going to get Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. Some sort of cry fest from Drew McIntyre because he got distracted and rolled up. I'm not watching it. I don't know. We'll be doing AOW Underground on the gaming channel at 5. AOW, the last clean win Bobby had was The Miz. And that was months ago. Oh, God. Ian says, "How will WWE build Brock to come back? He didn't return today, so how about they make his return special?" If Brock Lesnar returns, it's probably going to be in front of fans, so I would expect that. Warrior says they should be booking Bobby like Lesnar. When's the last time Lesnar even had a distraction roll up? Most likely never. Yep. I don't get why it's such a bad thing to lose clean. It's a sport where someone wins and someone loses. Like, and you know, when I always talk about that and I'm like, you win or you lose, right? That's what we're here to do. We're here to win. We're here to lose. And people are like, well, it can't always be that cut and dry. Yes. Yes, it can. It can be that cut and dry. Could you imagine if sports didn't end in something like that? Like, oh, like a football game? There's not a clear winner? What? No. No. There's a winner. And like, I understand that draws happen sometimes. I don't think, like in boxing and stuff like that. Like, I understand that that could be the case sometimes, but that doesn't always have to be the case. It doesn't have to be the case. Those should be used as ways to enhance a story, not a way to just kind of keep everyone in some sort of meh, a pile of meh. That's all it is. That's all it is. Drew McIntyre he's still quote unquote strong because he got rolled up, but Bobby Lashley is not dominant because he had to cheat to win. So now you have these two people and no one's over and no one achieved anything from it whatsoever. Nothing. Now Drew McIntyre is just sad. He's not weak. He's just sad because now we can't challenge for the WWE Championship. It's stupid. Anthony says a mash of meh. Yes, exactly. A giant mash of meh. Ayan says Bobby really transformed from him from the most confused on earth to his U.S. title run was really great, but his WWE Championship run, he's looking weak and kind of want to get help from others. Yeah, like he has the look. Just book him strong. Run it back next week. Oh God, dude, I'm very curious to see what they do from that here. Cheat to win is just a common heel for him in a Hell in a Cell match. Like I don't know. I don't know. Van says the Drew can kick out from 3 F5s, but not a roll up. I mean, I get the whole thing where, you know, it's a roll up. They're 26 minutes into the match. They've been beating the hell out of each other. He just didn't have the energy. Like I can see stuff like that. And it's fine to use things like that, but not every single week. They had 3 hokey finishes on this card. They had 1 roll up, 1 surprise roll up, 1 disqualification, and 1 distraction roll up. They had 1, 2, 3. Wait, shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had 6 matches on this card, and 3 of them ended. Well, I would say Alexa Bliss ended pretty weird too. So 3 of them ended in hokey finishes. 2 of them ended clean, and 1 of them was a weird possession thing. So like, a lot of the matches had weird shit into them. Anthony says the only good thing about the pay-per-view is Bayley saying "Shut up, Michael Cole." That was great. I love that. Atharva says I still feel Sheamus versus Drew was not finished. How can that feud end up on a pay-per-view like Fastlane? I won't mind Sheamus versus Drew. I want Drew to stay out of titles for a while. He needs some time to do something else. Maybe give Drew McIntyre a vacation. Give the man some time off. He tried to carry Raw through the pandemic era. Like, give this man a couple weeks off until fans come back, and then let him, do his thing in front of people. Chloe says tomorrow on Raw, Drew joins Randy and Riddle to become Clamo RK Bro. Oh God. God. Drew needs to go to SmackDown. I wouldn't mind seeing Drew on SmackDown. That would be a pretty good draft pick to change things up a little bit. But they need to draft people and not feuds this time around, because all they did was shift feuds from one brand to another. You can't draft Seth Rollins and then draft the entire Mysterio family as well and just put them all on SmackDown. Like, the whole goal of this is to separate people and do fresh things. Van says, I say Adam Cole in the commentary on left side, Michael Cole in the middle, and Pat on the right side. Now I wake up at 5:30. That'd be crazy. NXT should be in the draft too. Yeah, that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Ash says Drew McIntyre was amazing during the pandemic era. Props to him. Yeah, he did a great job. I don't think anything should be taken away from him. I think we just need some time away from Drew McIntyre. We need some time. People are going to turn on Drew McIntyre so fast when he keeps getting these title opportunities. He's in the main event scene. People are already turning on him. They need to give him something else to do. They need some time off. He's been in the WWE Championship scene for well over a year. Well over a year. Do the same people book SmackDown and Raw? To my knowledge, yeah. WWE Emoji says, instead of canceling celebrities, let's cancel distractions and disqualifications. Yes, please get rid of them forever. Forever. I want like a full year with nothing happening like that. Chloe says they literally drafted Murphy, Rollins, and the Mysterios to a whole new brand. Yeah, like stop. Separate people. That's the whole point. Anthony says we need to make a GoFundMe for Drew for a vacation. Yeah. And some pants too. Myra says, nah, AW, if Drew goes off TV, fans going to say he's buried. No, I think this is the whole thing. You have to rotate your roster. You have to rotate your roster. You just have to do it. Or you get in these things where the shows are completely repetitive. They're just completely repetitive. You need to rotate people. You need to have people wrestle one week, maybe be off the next week, maybe be in a backstage promo the next week, then wrestle. Like, you can't like wrestle, rematch, backstage promo, rematch. It doesn't work. That's not how stories work. WWE has conditioned people to think that you can't tell a story without having a match every single week. So when you're like, why the hell have Seth Rollins and Cesaro faced each? No, I'm going to say, why the hell have Shinsuke Nakamura and Baron Corbin faced each other for 6 weeks in a row? That's story. It's not storytelling. That's not storytelling. Over a crown that Shinsuke Nakamura wants to win. Baron Corbin had to win King of the Ring tournament 2 years ago to get that crown. And now Shinsuke Nakamura just needs to be 50-50 booked with Corbin to get the crown from him. It's not storytelling. It's not. That's not how this works. Sure, that's how some stories can work. Sure. But that's not how every story works. You don't need matches every single week. You're overexposing people, and that's just not how it works. And that's why NXT was so special when it was on the WWE network. It's not like NXT today where Tommaso Ciampa's on it, Adam Cole's on it, the whole entire Undisputed Era, Velveteen Dream, Johnny Gargano. Like, you didn't have those people on every single episode of NXT. It was like one of them. Or maybe it was 0 of them. And then you're like, wait, Velveteen Dream is going to be on NXT tonight? I have to watch that. Holy shit. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa on TakeOver? And I think there was a very long stretch where like people like Ciampa weren't even on NXT. Or they would be on there for a promo and they would actually wrestle at TakeOver. That's the kind of stuff that makes people feel larger than life. Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar wrestles on pay-per-views. That's why he has that aura of being huge. Roman Reigns right now, for the most part, does not wrestle on SmackDown pay-per-views. That is how you get people up. So when you have these people wrestling for 6-7 weeks in a row, it takes away everything. Vance says, gotta go. Oh, wait, it's online test. Yeah, I need to go too, because it's been like 2 hours and 40 minutes. Warrior says, speaking of, why the hell has Shinsuke not gotten his match against Roman after he got screwed out of the gauntlet? I think it was because all of that stuff, I think was because they weren't sure WWE and Cesaro hadn't like come to a new agreement yet. And then Cesaro ended up re-signing, and I think they just kicked Shinsuke to the curb after that. Trevin says, I don't think I've seen more rematches ever in my life than Big E and Apollo. Yeah, that was brutal. Ashton says, people turned on Rollins when he was the top guy. People turned on Roman when he was the top guy. People turned on Cena when he was the top guy. It's how they book them that makes people hate them. Yeah, it's true. Ayan says they don't need a draft. They need a shakeup, like Finn to Raw. I think they need a full-on draft. Like, I think everyone needs to be shaken up and go to different places. I think they need a whole new reset. And I heard that, I think Andrew Zarian, I think, of the Matman podcast, I think he said that they're going to have new sets as well. So expect those when the shows come back with fans. WWE Emoji says, to be honest, the feuds between Roman and Baron was fantastic back in 2020. I enjoyed it very much. Same with the Usos and the Dirty Dogs. Oh, God, that was brutal. The dog thing, the dog food thing. Oh, man. Myra says, well, that's the thing they only care about. Romance on SmackDown. He has 5 promos at night. Yeah. Oh, Roman. Yeah. Roman Reigns versus Seth. That would be good. Yeah. That'd be really good. Alex says Edge versus Seth Rollins, Roman versus Cena, Ripley versus Becky Lynch for SummerSlam. Sure. Yeah, Edge is supposed to come back as well for fans. I'm gonna answer a few more and then I'm gonna head out for the rest of the night here. Jan says Shayna Baszler is so talented she can easily go for the women's championship of Raw and have some bangers with Rhea Ripley. Yeah. Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler? Yes, please. NXT versions? Yes, please. Not this current version. Vance says, why wouldn't they turn on Rollins? Dude was feuding with AJ Styles, and we all enjoyed that, but suddenly the King Baron Corbin messed it up. Man, Baron Corbin always gets the shit end of the stick. Like, I think Baron Corbin is talented in the ring and outside of the ring. I think that just the things that they give him is just not good. Lashley versus Omega for SummerSlam? Yes. The final Forbidden Door. Trevor says, just have everyone available in the draft pool. Not even the champs are safe. Everyone can land anywhere. I would prefer that the champs stay on the shows this time around, but everyone else, yeah, I feel like that would be dope. Myra says, Raw has a nice mid-card title picture. Priest, Ali, Ricochet, Sheamus, Humberto, and SK. Many more. I feel like Priest hasn't been on TV in 5 weeks, man. 5 weeks. Has Ricochet been on TV recently? Van says, gotta go. See you. Yeah, I gotta go too. Thank you, man, for tuning in. I appreciate it. We've been here for almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Alex says, do you think AEW and WWE will ever have a partnership? No, I do not. Did I hear that Becky Lynch was training? Yes. At the Performance Center. Yes, I did. It's gonna be great to see her back. Gonna be great. Chloe says, Baron Corbin booking is called the Baron Corbin Vortex because every feud he has is drowned out for too long and you can't escape it. Yep. Anyone that has to feud with him, it just kills all of their momentum, for sure. Main event versus Drew Gulak recently. Yeah, so not even Raw mid-card. Yeah. All right, that's it for me. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's been a while since I don't do that main roster stuff anymore, but I don't know. Might be looking to do some other things here pretty soon on some other platforms. We shall see how it goes. But thank you guys for tuning in. It was nice chatting with you guys, of course, for main roster stuff. So we only get to do it once a month now, unless you're here for NXT or Dynamite. So thank you. Like I said, always a pleasure. I will be here tomorrow, but on the gaming channel, youtube.com/Phantom Spec. We will be playing AEW Underground, and we just had a huge pay-per-view, so lots of stuff to do. That will be tomorrow, live during Monday Night Raw at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, usually about 3 hour shows as well. And then we'll be back here for Tuesday for NXT. And then on Wednesday, we'll be doing another episode of FFBW since Dynamite will be on Saturday. Don't forget, Dynamite is not on Wednesday. Dynamite is not on Friday. Dynamite will be on Saturday this time. So once again, thank you guys so much, and I will see you all tomorrow for AEW Underground. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.